Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much, dear devotees, once again. Welcome to session number 44 of Srila Rupa Goswami's Shri Upadeshamritam. I'm very glad to once again be in the association of all of you. Today is Trayodashi. It is the appearance day of Bhagavan Dhanvantari and Lakshmi Devi from the ocean. So today is the day the ocean was being churned. Bhagavan Dhanvantari and Lakshmi Devi appeared today from the ocean. Tomorrow is Amavasya, Deepavali Amavasya, the day on which Damodar Leela took place. Dear devotees, I wish all of you a very happy Deepavali Amavasya, and I sincerely hope that Sri Damodar Leela always resides within your heart on this particular day. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you, Dhameshwar Mahaprabhu Prabhu, for kindly once again hosting Shri Upadeshamritam. And we are currently in a section which is considered to be Upadesh Saram, the essence of all the instruction. Definitely, it is going to be esoteric. It cannot be something external or something lightweight. It is definitely very esoteric, but we are not going to hesitate away from speaking what is the tattva, what is the siddhanta that has been given by our acharyas. Because there are many misunderstandings regarding tattva, regarding siddhanta, also regarding Raganuga Bhakti. In the previous session, I had showed a verse from Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, where he says that Anta Raganuga Vartma Durdarsham Vividhairapi. It is difficult. The path of Raganuga Bhakti is difficult even for the very learned, even for the gods to understand. I had quoted that verse in the previous session. Therefore, it is important that we should learn about it in such a way that we do not have any misunderstandings about it. So, dear devotees, I would like to continue my presentation on Srila Rupa Goswami's Shri Upadeshamritam. Before we begin, I would once again like to perform Shanti pathah for ensuring auspiciousness for those who are attending, as well as for myself who is speaking. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanam Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sahana Bhavatu. May Bhagavan protect both of us, teacher as well as student. Sahanam Bhunaktu. May he bestow the highest fruit of the study upon both of us. Sahaviryam Karvavahi. May both of us attain the strength to realize the highest truth. Tejasvi now Adhitamastu. May our study shine forth brilliantly. Ma Vidvishavahi. May we never envy each other. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May peace pervade the three worlds. Dear devotees, before we begin, I'll also offer a verse in the praise of Srila Rupa Goswami, a verse composed using only two consonants. Purupara Pararupam Paparehe Purapaprapam Puraripo Rapiparam Rupa Paramparam. Glorify this parampara of Srila Rupa Goswami, which resembles a vast devotional ocean, which is like a fresh water supply that refreshes the life airs of Sri Krishna, the destroyer of all sinful reactions, and which is worshipable even for Sri Shiva, the enemy of Tripurasura. Dear devotees, we are on the 8th instruction. Tannam Rupa Charitadi Sukirtanarum स्मृत्योः क्रमेण रसनामनसि नियोज्य तिष्ठन् व्रजे तदनुरागि जनानुगामी कालं नयेदखिलमित्युपदेशसारम्. Dhameshwar Mahaprabhu, kindly read the translation.
While residing in Vraja, a devout follower of those individuals who are attached to Vraja should spend one's entire time by investing the tongue and mind, respectively, in joyous kirtan and repeated smarana of the name, form, character, and so on of Krishna and his associates. This indeed is the essence of all instructions.
Dear devotees, we have to invest our tongue and our mind in kirtan and smaran of the name, form, qualities, and pastimes of Krishna and his associates. Srila Rupa Goswami is speaking here specifically about Sri Krishna's name, form, qualities, and the associates of Sri Krishna. How do we know about it? Sri Rupa Goswami is saying, Tishthan Vraje. Stay where? Stay in Vraja. While staying in Vraja, one has to execute this type of a bhakti. And at the same time, we should know that this type of a bhakti has a special name, and this has been discussed in the previous sessions. It is called Raganuga Bhakti. Dear devotees, Sri Rupa Goswami will say that this sort of a service of Raganuga Bhakti is executed through two identities, and I discussed this verse even in the previous session. Seva sadhaka rupena siddha rupena chatrahi tadbhava lipsuna karya Vraja Lokanusaratah. Seva, this service, which service, dear devotees? The service of Raganuga Bhakti, not the service of Vaidhi Bhakti. Vaidhi Bhakti is executed only through one body, the body which we presently have. That is Vaidhi Bhakti. But Seva, service through on the path of Raganuga Bhakti, is executed simultaneously through two bodies. What are the two bodies? The body of a sadhaka, the body of a practitioner, and the body of a siddha, the perfected body that one aspires for. These two services are respectively carried out according to the perfect sadhakas and siddhas of Vraja. Sri Rupa Goswami is very clear in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu that this sort of a service is related exclusively to the residents of Vraja. Why so? Dhameshwar Mahaprabhu, doesn't it seem very sectarian that you restrict a particular type of bhakti only to a particular region in the spiritual world? What do you think about it?
I think their bhakti is so special and unique that it takes a special and unique type of sadhana.
Wonderful. So there must be something very special about the mood of the Vrajavasis that Sri Rupa Goswami has to place the bhakti that follows them in a very separate category named Raganuga Bhakti. Dear devotees, Sri Rupa Goswami is speaking of two identities, Sadhaka Rupena, Siddha Rupena. First, as a Sadhaka, you are situated in your Sadhaka deha, in your current body, which is known as the body of a practitioner or Sadhaka deha. And we have a Guru who is Vraja Anuragi. Vraja Anuragi means the Guru is supposed to be deeply attached to Sri Krishna, his associates in Sri Vrindavan, and the pastimes, etc., that took place in Sri Vrindavan. This is a Guru who is known as Vraja Anuragi. This is the Guru that Sri Rupa Goswami has asked us to take shelter of in this verse. Tishthan Vraje Tad Anuragi. Take shelter of Tad Anuragi, a devotee who is Vraja Anuragi, attached to Vraja. This Guru may be one's Diksha Guru or one of the Shiksha Gurus, dear devotees. But one should have one such Guru in order to qualify according to the current verse of Sri Upadeshamritam. Otherwise, we will not fulfill the criteria that has been given to us by Srila Rupa Goswami in this very verse of Shri Upadeshamritam. The sadhaka follows in the footsteps of the Guru, who is Vraja Anuragi. This is the first type of service. Gradually, the sadhaka is also developing another identity. And this identity is developed only and only within the mind, dear devotees. Because as long as we are existing in this body, this other identity, which is known as Siddha deha, is only possible through the mind. This identity is gradually being developed. And in this identity, the individual also follows the Guru Janas. Basically, the individual follows the Nitya Siddha Vrajavasis. And the Guru is also one of the Nitya Siddha Vrajavasis. So the Guru has an identity even in the spiritual world. And the Guru is serving one of the Vrajavasis. So one aspires for following one's Guru Janas even in the Siddha Deha. And the result of this is that finally one achieves one's desired goal in Shri Goloka Vrindavan as an eternal associate of Sri Krishna and the Vrajavasis. Dear devotees, this is the entire process summarized in the form of diagrams. Dear devotees, Sri Narottam Das Thakur confirms this in his Prema Bhakti Chandrika. Till now, I have not quoted him so much, but the entire Prem Bhakti Chandrika of Sri Narottam Das Thakur is filled with the Siddhantas of Srila Rupa Goswami. Sri Narottam Das Thakur confirms this principle in the Prem Bhakti Chandrika. Sadhane ye dhana chai, siddha dehe taha pai, pakva pakva matra se vichara. Sadhane ye dhana chahi. Rameshwar Mahaprabhu, do you know what is the meaning of dhana?
Wealth.
Yes. Sadhane, while performing your sadhana bhakti, ye dhana chai, whatever wealth you want or whatever good fortune you want. You want to become a cowherd associate of Sri Krishna. Whatever wealth you want. Siddha dehe taha pai. That is finally attained in your Siddha deha. So what is the difference? Pakva apakva matra sahi vichar. The difference between sadhana and Siddha bodies is that the sadhaka body is an unripe, apakva state of experience. And the Siddha body is a fully matured, ripe, pakva state of experience. So as a sadhaka, one has a general idea of what one is aspiring for. And sometimes one gets additional details of what one is aspiring for. But the actual experience will only be when one finally attains that Siddha Deha in the direct association of Sri Krishna. When it is not simply manasi seva, not simply service through the mind, but it actually becomes one's final attained body. So this is what Sri Narottam Das Thakur is saying. Right now we are serving through the mind. He calls it apakva. Right now it is an unripe state of experience. But when we have the final attainment, it will be pakva, a fully ripe, fully mature state of experience. Pakile se prema bhakti, apakva sadhana gati, bhakti lakshana tattva sara. Pakile, when one's unripe sadhana becomes ripened, pakile, sahi prem bhakti, that is called prema bhakti. And as long as it is unripe, it is known as sadhana. So these are the characteristics. So finally, when you attain the final end result, prema bhakti, the full, complete experience of prema bhakti, that is your Siddha Deha, the final body in which you will be situated in the spiritual world. This is Prem Bhakti Chandrika, the 56th stanza, because Prem Bhakti Chandrika is in the form of stanzas. So this is the 56th stanza of Prema Bhakti Chandrika, dear devotees. Now, it is very clear that we are executing, Sri Narottam Das Thakur is speaking of executing Raganuga Bhakti here. We should know if there are any categorizations in Raganuga Bhakti. And yes, there are two main categorizations that Sri Rupa Goswami gives. He says, Ragatmikaya Dvaividya Dvidha Raganuga Chasa. So Raganuga Bhakti is also of two types. What are the two types? So he says, Kamanuga cha Sambandha Nuga Cheti Nigadyate. Kamanuga, variety of Raganuga Bhakti, and Sambandhanuga, variety of Raganuga Bhakti. So dear devotees, please do not get confused. We are not introducing additional complexities here. We already know what is Raganuga Bhakti, that it means to follow in the footsteps of an eternal associate of Sri Krishna. That is the basic definition of Raganuga. But it is divided into two types, Kamanuga Bhakti, Sambandhanuga. What is Kamanuga Bhakti? Very simple. When you follow in the mood of the gopis, which means when you are a follower of Madhurya Ras, then your bhakti is called Kamanuga Bhakti. And when you follow in the footsteps of devotees of other rasas, such as Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda, or friends of Krishna, or servants of Krishna, then your bhakti becomes known as Sambandhanuga. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur asks a question in the commentary, why separate out Kamanuga Bhakti? Aren't the gopis also related? Aren't they Sambandha? Aren't they related to Krishna? Yes, they are also related. So why separate out Kamanuga Bhakti? Because this is a very special variety of bhakti which deserves a special mention of its own. Therefore, Kamanuga and Sambandhanuga are two types of bhakti. Now, a question arises. Dhameshwar Mahaprabhu Prabhu, Kamanuga Bhakti we understood following in the mood of the gopis. Sambandha means relation. Sambandhanuga means bhakti which follows in the footsteps of other relatives of Sri Krishna, parents, friends, or servants. Question arises, Prabhu, can't we follow in the footsteps of the Pandavas? Pandavas are also related to Sri Krishna. Can't we follow in the footsteps of the Vrishnis? Nameshwar Mahaprabhu, aren't the Vrishnis related to Sri Krishna?
Yes, they are.
Aren't the Pandavas related to Sri Krishna?
Yes.
So they are also Sambandhis or related to Sri Krishna. So by following them, can't I have a form of bhakti in which I am following the Pandavas and then call it Raganuga Bhakti?
No, Prabhuji, that's not how Rupa Goswami has explained it.
There should be some logic behind. It's just not just because Rupa Goswami said it, I believe it, and that settles it. That's not the parampara. The parampara is to question. The parampara is to question on every stage and to verify it logically. So there has to be a reason why Sri Rupa Goswami did not say that you should follow in the footsteps of the Pandavas and Vrishnis and still call it Raganuga Bhakti. Why did he put the Pandavas and Vrishnis, etc., in the category of Vaidhi Bhakti? This question has to be answered today by us. Because Sri Rupa Goswami's intention is not motivated by sectarian beliefs. He is not that only, since I like the devotees of Vraja, therefore I will define my bhakti only in relation to the devotees of Vraja. It's not like that. Sri Jiva Goswami explains in good detail in his commentary, and I will point it out, dear devotees. So these both moods, first Kamanuga and Sambandhanuga, these both are Raganuga, and Raganuga Bhakti is defined only in relation to the mood of the Vrajavasis. Not even in relation to the Pandavas, not in relation to the Vrishnis. So Pandavas and Vrishnis are the closest to Sri Krishna outside Vraja. So if not even Pandavas and not even Vrishnis, then forget about anybody else. So it's only in relation to the mood of the Vrajavasis. Why so? Sri Jiva Goswami takes up the case of the Pandavas in one of his commentaries on Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Pandavanam yaha sneha. He says the sneha, the affection that the Pandavas have, sa sakhyamaya ragatmikayam eva paryavasyati. He says ultimately the affection of Pandavas points towards Sakhya Raganuga Bhakti. Rameshwar Mahaprabhu, ultimately, weren't the Pandavas behaving like friends of Bhagavan Shri Krishna? Arjuna, let's take Arjuna. Wasn't he behaving like
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes. So, being a friend is kamanuga or sambandhanuga?
Sambandhanuga.
Alright. Since their behavior is displaying that mood. Now, he says, Tadrisha Vyavahara Shravana, their mood was having friendship. Tathapi, still, Aishwarya Jnana Pradhanatvat. Still, their relationship with Krishna also has predominance of Aishwarya Jnana, awe and reverence. Therefore, they are primarily considered to be role models on the path of Vidhi. And therefore, their relationship with Krishna cannot be emulated by somebody who wishes to walk on the path of Shuddha Raganuga Bhakti. Now, let me practically explain, what Sri Jiva Goswami is saying. Let's say some devotee thinks, I aspire for the mood of the Pandavas. I aspire for the mood of Arjuna. Let's say Arjuna, the closest to Sri Krishna. Because if we discuss Arjuna's case properly, then everybody else's case is also discussed. So Arjuna, Dhameshwar Mahaprabhu, today some devotee aspires that they wish to follow in the footsteps of Arjuna. Now Arjuna is a friend of Sri Krishna, definitely. But weren't there many moments in Arjuna's life when he clearly knew that Sri Krishna was the Supreme Personality of Godhead?
Yes.
Can you give examples of a few of such moments?
Probably the biggest one is when he saw the universal form.
Wonderful. Didn't Maya Yashoda also see the universal form in Krishna's mouth?
Yes, she did.
There was a difference in the way she reacted and the way Arjuna reacted. Can you, give a small elaboration upon how both of them reacted?
I think Mother Yashoda thought it was some sort of trick or some witch had done some strange spell or something like that. She dismissed it.
Right.
Whereas Arjuna apologized. He said, "Oh my gosh, you are the Supreme Lord, and I've addressed you as my friend, as Krishna. We laid on the same couch together. It's so informal. I apologize for all those offenses."
So Prabhu, apologizing for Sambandhanuga Bhakti? Does that sound like, a mood to follow in Raganuga Bhakti?
No, Prabhuji.
Later, there was also that sacrifice, where all the kings were invited and Krishna was given the first honor of worship because Bhishma proclaimed that Krishna is the first person who should get the first worship, and Shishupal objected to it. And Krishna showed in front of everybody that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, if I want to follow in the footsteps of Arjuna, I will need to have knowledge of Sri Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Before the Bhagavad Gita, during the Bhagavad Gita, and after the Bhagavad Gita. Will it be possible for me to follow in the footsteps of Arjuna and still call myself Shuddha Raganuga Bhakta? This is the question. Yes, Prabhu. What do you think?
No, Prabhuji.
It is not possible. So, dear devotees, this is the reason why when we are following the path of Shuddha Raganuga Bhakti, it is not possible to follow in the footsteps of the Pandavas. This is the reason why. You see how Sri Jiva Goswami has explained it logically. So it's not that Sri Rupa Goswami has some sort of bias against the Pandavas or the Vrishnis. But the form of bhakti that we wish to execute is such that when we attain our perfection, we never wish to understand Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right now, we may be knowing Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But in our perfected identities, we do not even wish to have a small trace of such an understanding. Because Aishwarya Gyan, or awe and reverence, it covers up or shrouds madhurya or sweetness of relationship. Therefore, we do not wish to have our relationship with Sri Krishna to be shrouded or covered by Aishwarya Gyan, awe and reverence in our final relationship with Sri Krishna. Therefore, the mood of the Pandavas cannot be a role model for those who are practicing Shuddha Raganuga Bhajana. This is about Pandavas. What about the Vrishnis? So regarding the Vrishnis, another commentator, Shri Mukunda Goswami, he has also written a Sanskrit commentary on Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. In his Artha Ratna Alpa Deepika, commentary on Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he makes a very beautiful point. Vrishninam sambandhasya aishya jnanena madhya madhya avarana. He says the sweetness of the relationship of Vrishnis with Krishna is such that it frequently gets covered by their knowledge of his supremacy, that he is the Supreme Lord. Of course, the Vrishnis know that he is the king of Dwarka. The Vrishnis know many times that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, because of this predominance of awe and reverence and the knowledge of Krishna being the Supreme Lord, therefore, such a relationship cannot become the basis for the practice of Raganuga, dear devotees. This is the reason why Sri Rupa Goswami specifically said, Vraja Lokanusaratah. Raganuga Bhakti is to be executed by following exclusively the mood of the Vrajavasis, not by any other mood. Because if the mood of the Pandavas is also not upayogi or useful in this type of bhakti, and if the mood of the Vrishnis is also not useful in this type of bhakti, then any other mood, forget about any other mood. Only the mood of the residents of Vraja is useful for executing this type of bhakti. This is the Siddhanta that has been given to us by the previous acharyas. That is what it is, dear devotees. Now, Sri Jiva Goswami tells us about the two identities once again, Sadhaka and Siddha. Sri Jiva Goswami says, what is the meaning of Sadhaka Rupa Seva, Siddha Rupa Seva? He says, Sadhaka Rupena Yatha Avasthita Dehena. Service is to be rendered through two identities. Sadhaka Rupena, through the Sadhaka identity, which means through the physical body that one is currently situated in. So, as a Gaudiya Vaishnava, I have a physical body which is called Sadhaka Deha. Through this body, I execute service. What services? Kirtan, Japa, Shravan, following Ekadashi. Many services are executed through Sadhaka Deha. And Suddha Rupena. What is the meaning of Siddha Rupena? Antas Chintita Abhishta Tat Seva Upayogi Dehena. Through the Siddha identity, Jiva Goswami says, through a body that has been conceived in one's heart, Antas Chintita. And not a body which is, according to one's selfish desires. No. Seva Upayogi Dehena, a body that is most helpful for rendering eternal seva to Krishna and his associates. So this is what the Siddha identity has been defined as. Now comes a very important query, that how is it that the Siddha identity is to be attained? And our acharyas have elaborated upon this too. Dear devotees, Srila Prabhupada first and foremost says that it is not possible to serve Sri Krishna without having a perfected or Siddha identity. In teachings of Lord Chaitanya, in the 13th chapter, Srila Prabhupada says something. Rameshwar Mahaprabhu, can you read this?
Yes, Prabhuji. By adopting this emotional mood of following in the footsteps of the gopis, one attains his siddha deha. This word indicates the pure spiritual body, which is beyond the senses, mind, and intelligence. No one can serve the Supreme Lord as his associate without being situated in his perfectly pure spiritual identity.
Srila Prabhupada is very clear. No one can serve the Supreme Lord as his associate. You can serve as a sadhaka, but you cannot become a siddha until you take on this spiritual identity. So this is very clear in the words of Srila Prabhupada. Because some people say, reject all these discussion. Prabhupada never discussed. No, Prabhupada discussed. He's discussed. Wherever he has discussed, I will bring it out. I will not shy away from bringing out whatever opinions he has about this particular topic. There are some very severe warnings given by Srila Prabhupada about this topic, and I am going to bring them out today. Let's tackle all the statements head on and understand what is the intention of our acharyas. Dear devotees, Srila Prabhupada says here that by adopting the emotional mood of following in the footsteps of the gopis. So Srila Prabhupada also says that one has to follow in the mood of the gopis of Sri Vrindavan. One attains his siddha deha. So he reveals here that it is a path of following in the mood, that it is manasi seva, that it is service through the mind. Dear devotees. Now, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Mahashay, he reveals to us how this body is attained. In Sri Chaitanya Shikshamrita, in the 7th chapter, he specifies the details. Dear devotees, we are entering into a very esoteric part of the discussion. Therefore, please take good care that you are understanding the Siddhanta of our Acharyas very clearly and that you do not have a misunderstanding. I am quoting the Acharyas in the direct words of the Acharyas. Although this is an English translation, I have tried to be faithful as much as possible to the original. Dear devotee, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur says, while residing in this dull material world, the sadhakas may be staying in a material body, but very importantly, by the mercy of Shri Guru, not by their own whims and fancies. No. By the mercy of Shri Guru, they will conceive of their siddha deha on the path of their inner manasi seva. With such a conception in one's mind, the sadhaka meditates upon the eightfold pastimes of Radha Krishna and thus develops an identity and ego in relation to those pastimes. So Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur begins explaining how a sadhaka develops their siddha deha. The most important factor, he says, by the mercy of Shri Guru, which means that one needs to have a guru who will understand the mood of the disciple, who will bestow the mood on the disciple. And then the disciple will be able to render manasi seva or service through the mind. And then the meditation on the eightfold pastimes. What are eightfold? The 24 hours of the day are divided into 8 divisions of 3 hours each. One division of 3 hours is called yama. So ashtayama means eightfold. 8 into 3, which is 24-hour service through the mind, is possible. It is possible only through the mind, and the sadhaka meditates upon this, and then gradually the sadhaka develops an identity and ego in relation to those pastimes. Dear devotees, this is what it is. The path as laid down clearly by our previous Acharya, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Mahasaya. Now, dear devotees, some gurus also give a particular identity to their disciples while they are practicing. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur mentions about this in the same chapter of Sri Chaitanya Shikshamrita. By mercy of Sri Guru, one conceives of one siddha deha as follows. He gives an example, dear devotees. This is the example given to us by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Mahasaya. Look at this example. He says, I am a gopi maiden in the like-minded group of Sri Radha. I am situated in the shelter of Sri Lalita. The hamlet is a small village named Yavat, is my place of residence. I am a devout follower of Sri Rupa Manjari. Sri Rupa Manjari. He's not saying Sri Rupa Goswami, because Sri Rupa Goswami is, you have to follow him in the Sadhaka body, in the Siddha body, Sri Rupa Manjari. And I have a form replete with transcendental knowledge and bliss. By my own desire, I have a brilliant golden complexion and an eternal youthful age. In this way, I am situated very close to Sri Radha Krishna. Dear devotee, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur himself executed such a type of a sadhana. So this type of a sadhana is one in which, by the mercy of the Guru, one develops an identity in relation to the eternal associates of Shri Vraja. Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur doesn't stop here. He says that sometimes the Guru also gives an entire framework of one's identity. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says there are 11 aspects of this type of sadhana. This is technically called Ekadasha Bhava. Ekadasha Bhava means some gurus give 11 details to the practitioner who is practicing this type of a bhakti. What are the 11 details which one receives from one's guru? First is Nam, an eternal name which one will have in the spiritual world. This is received directly from the Guru while one is currently in the Sadhaka body. Second is Rupa. The Guru gives the details of the form. Third is Vayasa. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says the age that one will have eternally in the spiritual world. Fourth is Vesha, the clothing that one will have in the spiritual world. Fifth is Sambandha, the relationship with Srimati Radharani or Sri Krishna that one will have in the spiritual world. Sixth is Yutha, group of gopis that one will belong to. Seventh is Agya, the direct order that Srimati Radharani has given for one's eternal service. Eighth is Seva, the nature of one's service. Ninth is Parakhashta, what is the highest aspiration of service that one has. 10th is Palyadasi Bhav, the mood of being a sheltered maid servant or a sheltered dasi of Srimati Radharani. And 11th is Nivas, where is one's eternal residence in Goloka Vrindavan. These are the 11 factors that have traditionally been given by many gurus to disciples who are practicing Raganuga Bhakti. By a cursory look at these 11 factors, it will be very clear that these 11 factors are only in relation to Madhurya Ras. They are not in relation to any other ras. Because there are factors such as, Palya Dasi Bhav, being a maid servant. Now, this cannot be applicable to Sakhya Ras or Dasya Ras or Vatsalya Ras. So, this is a framework which is also traditionally known as Siddha Pranali. Dear devotees, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur himself had received this Siddha Pranali from his own Diksha Guru, Shri Vipin Bihari Goswami. This Siddha Pranali was also received by Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj from his own Guru. This Siddha Pranali was also received by Shri Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj from his Guru. A question arises, why is this type of a sadhana or this type of a pranali or this type of a framework not given to the devotees nowadays? Dear devotees, now we are entering into a part of a discussion where Srila Prabhupada is going to give a very strict warning. Rameshwar Mahaprabhu Prabhu, kindly read what Srila Prabhupada says.
In this connection, we should be careful about the so-called Siddha Pranali. The Siddha Pranali process is followed by a class of men who are not very authorized and who have manufactured their own way of devotional service. They imagine that they have become associates of the Lord simply by thinking of themselves like that. This external behavior is not at all according to the regulative principles. The so-called Siddha Pranali process is followed by the Prakrita Sahajya, or a pseudo-sect of so-called Vaishnavas. In the opinion of Rupa Goswami, such activities are simply disturbances to the standard way of devotional service.
Oh my goodness. So all this discussion, we have to discard. Rameshwar Mahaprabhu Prabhu, let's unlearn whatever we have learned till now, and forget about, the details that I spoke about Siddha Pranali. Because Srila Prabhupada says that this process is followed by a class of men who are not very authorized and who have manufactured their own way of devotional service. So, by hearing such statements, some individuals say discard all discussion on Siddha Pranali. We don't want to hear anything about it because Srila Prabhupada did not approve of it. Now, the question arises, this process was given by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. It was mentioned by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his own books. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is also our Acharya. Srila Prabhupada is also our Acharya. Nameshwar Mahaprabhu, the former Acharya, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, is describing Siddha Pranali in great detail in his Chaitanya Shikshamrita and Jaiva Dharma. The latter Acharya is saying that Siddha Pranali is not very authorized. We are stuck. What should we do? Please tell me.
I think we have to find a way to harmonize the two understandings.
But Prabhu, many times devotees do not wish to harmonize, but because Prabhupada said it and I believe it, that settles it.
Well, Srila Prabhupada's part of a lineage. And so to accept Srila Prabhupada means to accept the whole lineage, and it becomes necessary to harmonize.
Wonderful. So this is the acumen which is lacking sadly in some individuals. They see an Acharya as only an individual and not as part of an entire sampradaya. When Srila Prabhupada came to the West, he brought the message of the parampara. He did not bring his own message. When Srila Prabhupada came to the West, he came from the Radha Damodar temple to the West. So he brought the message of Srila Rupa Goswami. Srila Prabhupada dedicated the Bhagavad Gita as it is to Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan. He is representing a parampara. Otherwise, in the Bhagavad Gita as it is, he would have said that, I am the current representative, and he would have not given a list of the individuals of the disciplic succession. So, when it so happens that one authority speaks something and another authority speaks clearly in contradiction, we are stuck. Now a resolution has to come. What should we do in such a situation? Srila Rupa Goswami is future-proof in this regard. He says situations will arise when you will find two authorities giving conflicting statements. What should you do? Srila Rupa Goswami says in Laghu Bhagavatamritam, Virodho vakyayor yatra na pramanyam tadishyate yatha viruddhata cha syat tadarthah kalpyate tayo. Virodho vakyayor yatra. When contradictory statements from two authoritative sources are found, na apramanyam tadishyate. One statement does not invalidate the other. Because some people will say, Srila Prabhupada's statement invalidates the statements given by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Hare Baba, you are breaking a link of your own parampara by invalidating Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Somebody else may say, well, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is the previous Acharya, his statement invalidates what Prabhupada says. Again, you are breaking a link in the parampara. In both cases, when you take sides with only one Acharya and reject the views of the other Acharya, you break the link of your own Guru Parampara. This is traditionally called Ardha Kukkuti Nyaya, half-hen logic. I will only accept the Acharya whom I feel close to. I will not accept the Acharya whom I do not feel close to. Some people feel a closer connection with Srila Prabhupada. So they say, well, Prabhupada said, and that's it. It's written in stone. Some people say, no, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, and I feel, closely connected to him. So reject any other opinion. So no, both opinions cannot be rejected. A thoughtful person will try to find a resolution which will resolve the contradiction between the two statements. This is what we have to do. Now this is Gambhir Vichar. Serious thought has to take place here. Why did Srila Prabhupada make such a statement? Why did Srila Prabhupada speak against the practice of Siddha Pranali? What is Siddha Pranali? Once again, I will tell you. A sadhaka, a practitioner goes to a guru, and the guru sees that the practitioner is eligible for Raganuga Bhakti. The guru gives an identity to the sadhaka, that you are so and so in the spiritual world. This is your name, form, age, characteristics, your place of residence, etc. The sadhaka gets a framework of 11 details, which is called Ekadash Bhag. The sadhaka uses these 11 details to start his manasi seva, mental service, and which is seva sadhaka rupena, siddha rupena. Two types of service were mentioned by Sri Rupa Goswami, in the sadhaka's body, in the siddha's body. The guru gives details of both of them, and the details of the siddha body are given in the form of a 11-step framework. Or no, it's not 11 step or 11 details framework. So 11 details are given and the framework is ready. The sadhaka has to meditate and go through Shravan Dasha, Varan Dasha, Smaran Dasha, perfect his Siddha identity. That's it. It is a practice which was followed by many of the previous acharyas, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, Srila Jagannath Das Babaji, etc. Why did Srila Prabhupada speak against it? Dear devotees, it is often the nature of religiosity that what is rare and esoteric often becomes institutionalized. And when it becomes institutionalized, sometimes degradation starts setting in. Srila Rupa Goswami had given this path of Raganuga Bhakti in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. But he did not mention any 11 details or any such framework in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. No, these details, 11 details were never mentioned in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. But later, the Gaudiya Vaishnavas who were following in various paramparas, they felt that it would be nice to have this 11-step framework. And it is very good for those who are qualified. So, this Siddha Pranali became an institutionalized version of Diksha, which means if you have to get Diksha, that means you have to have Siddha Pranali. So then, when it became institutionalized that everybody who wants to perform Raganuga Bhakti in Madhurya Ras, they have to get these 11 details. That is when it became institutionalized. Gradually, a small rot began to set in. What happened? Some people started thinking, well, ultimately we have to follow the gopis. Why follow them only in the mind? Why not start following them also through the body? This is where the problem started happening. And these problems were noticed by none other than Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur started noticing the problems. In his commentary to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he gives a big purport. Kriya Chatra Dvividha. I'll not read the entire Sanskrit, but those devotees who are interested, they can see the entire Sanskrit. Bhavanamayi Manasi. Paricharyamayi Bahirindriya Vyapara Rupacha. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, there are two types of activities for the sadhaka. What are the two types of activities for the Raganuga sadhaka? Bhavanamayi, activities to be performed only through the bhavana, through the mind. And Paricharyamayi, activities to be performed through the external senses of the present body. Then Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur starts giving a warning. Some people say, which means in his day and time, some people had started saying. What were they saying? Since the sadhak is supposed to ultimately follow the gopis. Now gopis like Srimati Radharani. Now Dhameshwar Mahaprabhu, Srimati Radharani performs Surya Puja. She is a devout worshipper of the sun. So why should we not execute Surya Puja? Dhameshwar Mahaprabhu, as a sadhaka, I should start executing Surya Puja. What is the harm? Please tell me.
No, Prabhuji, that worship is just part of the pastimes of Krishna for a particular purpose, but we're not part of those pastimes. We don't have such a purpose.
Right. So this type of seva was supposed to be executed in the mind as a follower of Srimati Radharani, not through the sadhaka body. Now, then another question, does it harm their Shuddha Bhakti? Some people are raising such objections. And then they are also raising objections. Why do acharyas such as Sri Rupa Goswami, etc. follow Ekadashi, which were not followed by the gopis? Rameshwar Mahaprabhu, the gopis never followed Ekadashi, etc. Why are we following Ekadashi? Aren't we supposed to follow the gopis? Please tell me.
Only supposed to follow the gopis within our minds.
Yes, wonderful. Because the Siddha Rupa Seva, which is manasi Seva, is only supposed to be done from the mind. Some people started performing that Seva through the external body. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says to give opinions like this is incorrect. I will go back to the Sanskrit and I will point out where he says. He says, iti vachyam, he says, to give such opinions is incorrect. To follow the gopis means to follow their mood. He says not to imitate their activities. And then he says, in this way, the opinion of Sauramya has been shown as incorrect. Now, what is Sauramya? Many people ask, what is Sauramya? So, in Sri Vrindavan, there is a particular place called as Surama Kunja. And there were some devotees who were staying in Surama Kunja who were propagating these views during the time of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So, the views of Surama is known as Sauramya Vad. So the views which were coming from this particular part of Sri Vrindavan where some sadhakas were staying. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur started countering them. Dear devotees, this gradually increased to such an extent that Gaudiya Vaishnavism started losing all its reputation in the circle of learned people. Some people started saying that whatever activity Shri Radha and Krishna are performing in their Nitya Leela, meeting each other, touching each other, we can also follow in their footsteps in the Sadhaka deha. This obviously was completely against the teachings of Srila Rupa Goswami. And they were doing all this after receiving Siddha Pranali, which means people who do not understand what is the purpose of Siddha Pranali. The purpose was to help you in your manasi Seva, not to bring it out through your physical body. But people were bringing out those things through the via medium of physical body. This is what caused a lot of loss of reputation for Gaudiya Vaishnavism, dear devotees. A good practice turned into an institution and then degraded. Siddha Pranali, dear devotees. And people started saying, without Siddha Pranali, you can never attain Madhurya Das. Never attain. These opinions, even today, they are floated around. It is necessary to counteract these opinions, which I will do today. But I have to give a small historical basis of why our acharyas like Srila Prabhupada have made such strong statements. The degree of degradation that happened in Vaishnavism because of such misunderstandings was so great that by the time the Britishers came to India, by the time the Industrial Revolution happened, people were openly speaking about it. There was a very famous preacher of Indian religiosity. His name is Swami Vivekananda. He was the first one to go to, one of the first ones to go to the United States, and he gave a famous speech in Chicago. Now, Swami Vivekananda was not following Vaishnavism. He is not a follower of the path of Vaishnavism. But once he was asked about Vaishnavism, and you see the opinion that he gave about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Vaishnavism, a person who has who has not taken Vaishnav Diksha, but he is speaking something about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Vaishnavism. Dhameshwar Mahaprabhu, kindly read what he says.
Sri Chaitanya was a man of tremendous renunciation and had nothing to do with women and carnal appetites. But in later times, his followers admitted women into their order, mixed indiscriminately with them in his name, and made an awful mess of the whole thing. And the ideal of love, which the Lord exemplified in his life, was perfectly selfless and bereft of any vestige of lust. That sexless love can never be the property of the masses. But the subsequent Vaishnava gurus, instead of laying particular stress first on the aspect of renunciation in the master's life, bestowed all their zeal on preaching and infusing the ideal of love among the masses, and the consequence was that the common people could not grasp and assimilate that high ideal of divine love, and naturally made of it the worst form of love between man and woman.
This comes from a person who is not initiated into Vaishnavism. Can you see what was the reputation of Vaishnavism in those days? This was the common reputation of Gaudiya Vaishnavism that it had become. That Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started a very good path, but the latter Vaishnavas have spoiled it. And now they are saying that mundane lust between a man and woman is actually service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All of this because manasi seva was mistaken and people started executing that seva on the platform of the body. And he makes a very pertinent statement here. Although on most of the opinions, Srila Prabhupada severely disagrees with Swami Vivekananda. But he has made a pertinent statement here. That sexless love can never be the property of the masses. He is 100% spot on in saying that Raganuga Bhakti is not a practice which can be implemented in the masses. He very correctly pointed out. And he also correctly pointed out that common people could not grasp and assimilate that high ideal of divine love and naturally made of it the worst form of love between man and woman. Didn't Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti also say that Hanta Raga Anuga Vartma Durdarsham Vibudhairapi, even the gods will find it difficult sometimes to understand this path. Now, Swami Vivekananda is somebody who is, known, is famous throughout the world. People will listen to what he says. And opinions like these about Gaudiya Vaishnavism, if they become popular throughout the world, then this is the impression that the world will have of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. We need a personality who can put a stop to all the debauchery that is taking place in the name of Siddha Pranali. And Bhagwan blessed us with such a personality in the form of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. It is because of him that we understand that Siddha Pranali is a practice which is good for somebody who has overcome his anarthas. When the Guru is also situated as a Siddha and the disciple is also situated on a particular platform. But if the Guru is also misguided and the disciple is also misguided and then they have an incorrect idea of what Siddha Pranali is, then stop. Another thing is Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur wanted to organize Gaudiya Vaishnavism on a mass scale through institutional preaching. And Siddha Pranali cannot be given on a mass scale on an institutional level, dear devotees. Even when given individually, there are so many misunderstandings. Forget about giving it on a mass scale in an institution. So, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur put a complete stop to this practice within the institutions that he founded. And rightly so, because institutions are mainly meant for Vaidhi Bhakti, and especially, even if there is some element of Raganuga Bhakti in an institution, Siddha Pranali, etc. cannot be institutionalized. It's very clear. The harmful effects of institutionalizing Siddha Pranali are there in history. So much so that Swami Vivekananda, who has not taken initiation into a Vaishnava lineage, also knows what it is, dear devotees. So, please know that a great service to the path of Gaudiya Vaishnavism was rendered by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Great service to protect this path, because actually all these esoteric details, Siddha Pranali or the mood of a gopi or the mood of a manjari, they are our innermost secrets. They should not be thrown out on the streets in front of anyone and everyone. So these should be preserved carefully only for eligible people. Only and only for eligible people. Therefore, I have been repeatedly saying that Raganuga Bhakti is not for the masses. It is only and only for the classes. Only those who have the proper mood, the proper attitude, those who have reached that particular stage are qualified. Otherwise, for the masses, there is Vaidhi Bhakti. Please understand this. Now, Srila Prabhupada also, when he said about Siddha Pranali as being negative, what was the intention? The intention is not that all Siddha Pranali, including the one which Bhaktivinoda Thakur had, or Sri Jagannath Das Babaji, or Sri Gaurkishore Das Babaji, all of them is, no, not, that is not the intention. The intention is that without qualification, Siddha Pranali is not of much use. Srila Prabhupada says something. Prabhuji, kindly read.
First of all, anartha nivritti. You are accustomed to so many bad habits. First of all, try to rectify it. Then talk of Svarupa. Where is your Svarupa? Simply wasting time. A man is diseased. He's thinking, when I shall be cured, I shall eat. Go to this hotel. I shall eat like this. First of all, cure, then talk of eating this and that. Svarupa. When you are cured, that is Svarupa. So long as you are not cured, what is the use of talking Svarupa? First business is to cure yourself. Anartha nivritti. That is anartha nivritti. Then Svarupa will come.
Wonderful. So what Srila Prabhupada is saying, some people will read this and say, see, Prabhupada is saying follow the regulative principles first and then only you can speak about this. Prabhupada is speaking of something very important. First, anartha nivritti, get rid of your anarthas. How? Shravan dasha. Hear Krishna Katha from a proper source. Hear Krishna Katha from a proper source. Don't immediately try to become a participant in Krishna Lila. That is what he is saying. First of all, we do not even know about Krishna, his associates, his bhumi, his land where he stays, nothing. And then people suddenly get Siddha Pranali. And then, they say, my Svarupa in the spiritual world. Arey Baba, people who cannot write the spelling of Goloka Vrindavan, if they are given Siddha Pranali, what will happen? People who falter in memorizing verses and they are given Siddha Pranali, tomorrow they will not even be able to write their own name on a piece of paper. They make spelling mistakes while writing their own name in the spiritual world. Such people should get Siddha Pranali. So, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to make a joke about it. Used to say people who don't know how to clean themselves after going to the washroom are getting Siddha Pranali. And these people are claiming to be residents of the eternal spiritual world without having the required maturity. So it's not like that. The path is first Shravan Dasha. First, purify your desires by hearing Krishna Katha very nicely. It's not simply about following regulative principles. The most important regulative principle is hearing Krishna Katha, getting to practice the positives. Then Varana Dasha, then gradually Smarana Dasha. Then all the anarthas are automatically removed. But without taking to the medicine, and it's a very sweet medicine, dear devotees. I am not saying, I'm not giving you bitter medicine. Sweet medicine here, Krishna Katha in a very strong and potent manner. That's the sweet medicine we need to take. And if we don't take that sweet medicine and then just jump to a conclusion that I'm somebody in the spiritual world, it doesn't make sense. It absolutely makes no sense. And Prabhupada is correct here. So Siddha Pranali is good for somebody who has the required background. Back in the days when Siddha Pranali used to work very nicely, when people used to come from very learned backgrounds, people used to come from very cultured backgrounds. Sri Narottam Das Thakur, he had Siddha Pranali. he has the prerequisites for getting Siddha Pranali. So Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he has Siddha Pranali. He reveals his own identity and identity of his gurus in his literature. But he came from a very sabhya background, from a very cultured background. And people who don't have that cultured background, they first need to have all of those things before they can speak about their Svarupa. This is the intention of Srila Prabhupada. The intention is not to reject all Siddha Pranali. No. Finally, Prabhupada also had said, in the previous quote from teachings of Lord Chaitanya, that without having an eternal identity, you cannot serve Krishna as an associate. So that statement also stands. This statement also stands. But why did he give such a strong opinion about Siddha Pranali? Because unqualified people are taking to Siddha Pranali. So the aim is of Srila Prabhupada is not to reject all of Siddha Pranali, but to reject the practice of Siddha Pranali as taken up by people who have not even gone through Shravan Dasha, Varan Dasha, Smaran Dasha. So this is what is the aim of the Acharya, the intention of the Acharya. Finally, this is what the reconciliation is. In a few points, I am bringing about the reconciliation. Dear devotees, please hear all these points clearly. The tradition of Siddha Pranali. What is Siddha Pranali? 11 details are given about your spiritual identity, and the Guru gives to the disciple. You cannot assume by yourself. It has been followed by many authorities in the past, including Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Sri Jagannath Babaji, Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, etc. So you cannot wholesale reject and say this is all non-bona fide. Anybody who says that is cutting his own link to the parampara. But at the same time, this tradition is not available for sadhakas who aspire for other rasas, dasya, sakhya, or vatsalya. When I go to Vrindavan, sometimes I come across, while traveling, I come across Gaudiya Vaishnavas who are from other branches of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. A few months ago, I had met a Gaudiya Vaishnava who is from the Nityananda Parivar, and I asked him very straightforward that this Siddha Pranali is there for somebody who wishes to become an eternal associate of Srimati Radharani in Madhurya Ras. But what about Sakhya, Dasya, Vatsalya? Is there any Siddha Pranali for them? They said, I don't know, I don't think there is any Siddha Pranali for them. So my immediate question to them, then how do people who aspire for Dasya, Sakhya or Vatsalya attain perfection? How do they attain perfection? So the response is, well, through the normal path, that is Shravanam, Kirtanam. If it is possible for Dasya, Sakhya and Vatsalya, why is it not possible for Madhurya? Some people, they say that Gaudiya Vaishnavism is only Madhurya Ras. They reject even Dasya and Sakhya. This is a big harm to Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give 4 rasas: Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. Why harm Gaudiya Vaishnavism by removing everything else and only keep Madhurya? There are many devout followers of other rasas of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. I am going to give an example of that. Dear devotees, in the previous century, there lived a very devout follower of Sakhya Ras in Shri Vrindavan, Gaudiya Vaishnava. He is no longer physically present, but his name was Mahakavi Banamali Das Shastri. You can see him having 2 fingers. Rameshwar Mahaprabhu, you know what the 2 fingers indicate?
Dvaitavad.
Yes. He's very clearly, admitting that Madhvacharya is our previous Acharya. He Sri Vanamali Das Shastri. Above the text says Sakhya Ras Upasak. Sakhya Ras means he is a follower of Sakhya Ras. He is a Gaudiya Vaishnava. He used to stay in Shri Vrindavan, and he was known as Abhinav Kalidas, Mahakavi, great Sanskrit poet. Great Sanskrit poet. He translated Gopal Champu, Ananda Vrindavan Champu into Hindi. And he was personally a worshipper of Sakhya Ras. Try going up to him and saying that Sakhya Ras is not in Gaudiya Vaishnavism, and you will get an answer from him. Dear devotees, Gaudiya Vaishnavism has 4 flavors: Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. Although this presentation is not about individuals or institutions, but sometimes I wish to glorify some individuals. I wish to glorify them because they are really very good. He wrote praises in Sanskrit for Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He wrote great praises in Sanskrit for Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Vanamali Das Shastri. He was not belonging to any institution, but he glorified all those who were parts of institution. Very neutral personality. Very neutral personality. His books are today printed by Gaudiya Math. He did a translation of Sri Rupa Goswami's Padyavali that is printed by the Gaudiya Math even today. Mahakavi, great poet, Abhinav Kalidas, the Kalidas of the new generation. Sri Vanamali Das Shastri, a worshipper of Sakhya Ras in Shri Vrindavan Dham. Dear devotees, he did not have Ekadash Bhav, 11 details, because he was not worshipping Krishna through Madhurya Ras. He was worshipping Krishna through Sakhya Ras. So, if it is possible for Sakhya Ras, dear devotees, definitely it is also possible for Madhurya Ras. Definitely it is possible for Madhurya Ras. If you don't believe me, I will give another example. I will give another example. This tradition of Siddha Pranali is available exclusively for Madhurya Bhav, but it cannot be considered as compulsory for attaining perfection. It's not that if you don't have it, then you cannot attain perfection. Why am I saying so? And that too so confidently? Because the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu itself mentions. Nameshwar Mahaprabhu, you might have heard of some sages meeting Bhagwan Ram and expressing a desire. Have you heard of this pastime, Prabhuji?
The Vanachari Munis?
Yes, the sages at Dandakaranya who met Bhagwan Ram. What desire did they express to Bhagwan Ram?
They wanted to be in Madhurya Rasa towards Bhagavan.
You know what Bhagwan Ram should have said? Well, you don't have Siddha Pranali, so go back. What did Bhagwan Ram say to them?
He said, you do your practice in that way, and in my next avatar, I will fulfill your desire.
And didn't he fulfill that desire?
Yes.
So what is wrong with not having, why did people institutionalize Siddha Pranali and make it compulsory? The rule that is applicable for Sakhya Ras, for Dasya Ras, for Vatsalya Ras is also applicable for Madhurya Ras. It worked for the Rishi-chari gopis, the Muni who were previously Rishi sages in the forest of Dandakaranya. If it worked for them, it will work. It's an eternal principle. Dear Dameshwar Mahaprabhu, any devotee in the Srimad Bhagavatam who had Siddha Pranali?
No, Prabhuji.
No. But we don't disrespect the path of Siddha Pranali. It is a valid path which was followed by many of the previous acharyas. We have nothing against that. But we have an issue against institutionalizing Siddha Pranali. That is what our issue is against. Because Bhagwan Ram also did not institutionalize it. So who is somebody else to institutionalize it? So these rishis, they continued in their sadhaka identity, but in their mind, they desired a siddha identity to become an associate of Sri Krishna and Madhurya Ras. And that was their, means of attaining perfection. And they attained. Sri Rupa Goswami says in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu that they attained. So if they can attain, then we all also can attain. And especially if somebody is aspiring for Sakhya, Vatsalya or Dasya, then there is no Siddha Pranali. You have no other option but to follow the standard path of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, Siddha Pranali was later misunderstood. So these are the main points of what I spoke. By many, and not only misunderstood, misapplied by many to such an extent that some people started seeing mundane lust as some sort of a seva. And Siddha Pranali is respectable, but it is not for the unqualified masses. Very important to note. It is a very respectable system of entering into Raganuga Bhakti, but it is only for those who are qualified, not for the unqualified. And since such qualification or disqualification cannot be decided on an institutional level, therefore it is not for the unqualified masses and it cannot be given in an institution. So those people who accuse Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur of stopping the practice of Siddha Pranali, they should themselves think whether Siddha Pranali can be given on a mass scale in an institution. And the answer which they will come to is that it cannot be given. Because when people turned Siddha Pranali into an institution, you see what happened. Even individuals like Swami Vivekananda came to know what is going on in Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur and his followers do not accept Siddha Pranali for those who have not overcome their anarthas. Whereas many other Gaudiya Vaishnavas accept that it can be given even when one is yet to overcome anarthas. In Siddha Pranali, the Guru reveals the 11 details of one's Siddha identity to the sadhaka. This is what happened. This is the difference of opinion is this. Some Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they say even when a sadhaka has not overcome his anarthas, give the 11 details. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says absolutely no. No. This will lead to a big misunderstanding in the future. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur denies it. Now, we should not critique Siddha Pranali as a practice because some of our own acharyas have accepted it. At the same time, the qualifications needed for Siddha Pranali cannot be mass manufactured and preached in any organized form of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Dear devotees. And finally, those qualified souls who receive Siddha Pranali, qualified souls who receive Siddha Pranali from their qualified gurus are very fortunate. However, Siddha Pranali should also not be turned into an institution. It is not compulsory. It is not compulsory. It is not compulsory. It is not available for other rasas. Hence, even those who do not have Siddha Pranali can qualify themselves for Madhurya Rasa if they follow the proper sadhana and develop the proper mood under the guidance of a proper guru. Dear devotees, this is what is the reconciliation. Seva sadhaka rupena, siddha rupena cha atrahi. Service has to be rendered in Raganuga Bhakti through two bodies. Sadhaka rupa, the current body which we are in, and a body called as Siddha Rupa, which is only within the mind in this life. In the next life, if we perfect ourselves, then we have to take another birth where we will take birth with Sri Krishna in the universe where Krishna's pastimes are going on. There we will get our perfected identity, not only in the mind, but in reality. And there, Sri Krishna will be directly related to us. And then we will have attained our final Sampatti Dasha, our final attainment, dear devotees. So a lot of these things are not discussed, they are misunderstood. People make many false statements about Siddha Pranali, etc. But we have to understand what it is and what is the difference of opinion around it and what is the reconciliation around it. The devotees, having said that, I would like to conclude my speech for today, session 44. But we will continue discussing this verse because some aspects are still remaining and I am not yet satisfied. So we will continue next time. Yadatra skalitam kinchit vidvamsa purayantu tat. Yadatra saushthavam kinchit tad guroreva me nahi. Yadatra skalitam kinchit. If there is any mistake, vidvamsaha, all the learned souls purayantu tat. Please correct me. Yadatra saushthavam kinchit. But if there is anything nice, tad guroreva, it belongs to my gurujanas. Me nahi. It doesn't belong to me. Thank you very much, dear devotees. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Hari Parsha Prabhu, for another enlightening class. I think it was also a very courageous class. These topics can remain shrouded in mystery and confusion because it takes a lot of bravery to talk about it. You're really putting your neck out there. But it's so useful and valuable for these things to be clarified in just a really straightforward, direct, authoritative way. So thank you so much for this wonderful class.
Thank you.
We're going to transition now to questions and answers. And since I always forget the conditions, I wrote them down.
Oh, wonderful.
Please. See, I can't even remember three things.
Prabhu, it's important to institutionalize even the conditions of the question and answers. Otherwise, we may miss out on something.
Yes, I'm all for institutionalization. So please ask questions related to today's class. Don't focus your questions on any particular person or institution, and try to keep your questions short or wait for another turn.
Yes, and in case if you are quoting me somewhere that Hari Parshad Das said this in his Upadeshamritam class, please don't represent a simplified and incorrect version of what I said. All right, please ask devotees to listen to the entire class. Because recently somebody asked me whether we can create shorts out of your videos. I said, no, please. Sorry, no, please don't create shorts out of my videos because already attention span of individuals is reducing and these video shorts are contributing to it. And It is better to have few individuals listen to the talks, but who are willing to listen to the entire talk, rather than having a short snippet of what I am saying. So dear devotees, in case you are representing my words, then I would like to say that please ask individuals to listen to the entire talk, rather than giving an inapproximate summary of what I was saying. So that is what I would like to say. Thank you very much.
And we will begin with Jai Dwarka Prabhu.
Thank you, Sanoji. Thank you so much, Soji, for explaining this very like controversial aspect actually. Prabhuji, my question was because in last session you quoted a verse, you quoted a section where you highlighted that this Raganuga Bhakti starts at the time of taking shelter of the spiritual master.
Right.
So one can say that this can also be the Siddha Pranali one, Raganuga Bhakti. Because so I would like to know from you that what is the exact qualification of those who are eligible to take initiation in Siddha Pranali.
So Prabhuji, see, I told you already. Previously, when it was given at the time of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan, the people who used to come to Sri Vrindavan, who were the people who used to come to Gaudiya Vaishnavism in those days? So Jai Dwarka Prabhu, think of yourself as a person 300 or 400 years ago. You want to, who would become a Gaudiya Vaishnava 300 or 400 years ago? Can you tell me, Prabhuji?
Yes, probably the one who is very sincerely wanting to actually advance, because there was no means of transportation, so people would have to walk through all together to go to Vrindavan and find a nice sadhu like that.
Yeah, there's no book distribution. You don't have any, printed books, and there's no mass scale preaching going on. You have to fight against your family and society in order to become a Vaishnava. This is what is happening. After that, if you survive all of this and you make it to Sri Vrindavan, then you can find a guru, and then you can become a Gaudiya Vaishnava, and this cannot be done on a mass scale. People who used to come to this point were already trained so much in sadachar, in good conduct, that if you give them Siddha Pranali after so much surrender, they are ready for it. Now let's come Prabhu to 21st century. A person receives a book on the street. He is not looking for Gaudiya Vaishnavism. And after getting the book, then he just directly starts reading the book. Then he searches on the internet what is Gaudiya Vaishnavism. And in a few months, he comes to know about Siddha Pranali. And then he goes to Vrindavan, and then there is one Gaudiya Vaishnava who says, I will tell you who you are in the spiritual world. Chalo. There is a big difference in these two cases. So when the acharyas say that it can be begun even at the stage of taking shelter of a guru, they are speaking from that point of view of an individual who has really, given himself to the guru, who has, taken so much trouble to become a Gaudiya Vaishnava. The guru has also tested him for 1 year. Then the guru has told him, chalo, now you can enter. Nowadays, where is the testing by the guru? Tell me, where is the testing by the guru? There is no test. Most of the cases, the guru and disciple, there is no testing going on. So how will it be possible? So these two scenarios cannot be the same, Prabhuji. They cannot be the same. Therefore, what you have asked is good. I agree. But in today's day and age, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is right. Mass scale, it cannot be implemented. But previously, if you come from a family which has sadachar, good behavior, if you yourself have good behavior, and if only few anarthas are remaining, like let's say some seva anarthas are remaining, then you can be given an entry, no problem, because few anarthas are remaining. Major anarthas are washed out. You can be given an entry, no harm in that, because you will not use the path to become a debauchee. But if unqualified people are given, then there is a big problem. So I hope that this answer, gives a reconciliation to what you had asked.
Yes, Prabhuji, it gives a reconciliation, but again, I would say that this answer opens a wide door for many more questions, because when you explain this, that the last portion, that people will become debauchee. So there has to be clear distinction between what is the meaning of a few anarthas and what is the meaning of the anarthas which makes a person ineligible to enter into this path of Raganuga Bhakti.
So, all
Because
right.
generally what happens is that many people considers after hearing the talk is that
Once again, when we are saying we should clearly list down this and that, we are again trying to institutionalize Siddha Pranali. I told you that it is not something to be instituted. Why are we again and again trying to institutionalize something which was given only between a qualified guru and a qualified disciple? Let me tell you the only qualification that is needed. The guru should be a siddha and should be able to understand the disciple clearly. That's it. Let's put this as a qualification. Even those who get Siddha Pranali will agree, my guru should be a Siddha. They don't want to take initiation from somebody who's not a Siddha. So they will agree. So let me tell you the only qualification, which we can all put in stone. The guru should be a Siddha, which means the guru should have reached Sampatti Dasha. And the guru should be able to understand the qualification of the disciple. That's it. That is what I will say to you. Now you will say, how should we know if the guru is a Siddha? We should have some institutional qualification for deciding. Arey Baba, institution cannot give certificate to anybody for being Siddha or not. Right? Therefore, I told you, we should not try to institutionalize Siddha Pranali. So I hope that answers your query. Okay.
yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Next we have Madhav Tripathi Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam Prabhuji. Thank you so much for covering this esoteric topic in such an eloquent manner. Prabhuji, I had a little question about you mentioned this particular point about taking the shelter of a bona fide guru and a rasika guru, and also executing manasi seva. And like according to the direction of that guru, we can do manasi seva in a particular relationship with Krishna. So how is that different from the receiving Ekadasha Bhav and Siddha Pranali? You are still getting some instructions from the guru. So how is that different from getting the Ekadasha Bhav?
The guru gives instruction only to the qualified disciple on the path of Raganuga Bhakti also. Even let's say the guru does not give Ekadash, but the guru tells, guru will give some general details. You should worship through your mind in this mood. Your worship, you should worship. So guru is giving some details, but not exactly 11 details. But some details the guru has to give. But to whom? Madhav Prabhu, to whom should the details be given? Can you please tell me?
The sadhaka.
Which sadhaka? What type of sadhaka? Any sadhaka or qualified sadhaka?
Qualified sadhaka.
Wonderful. So sadhaka who has sadachar. Sadachar means good habits are there. Sadhaka who does not have tattva bhram, who does not have misgivings or misunderstandings about Raganuga Bhakti. To them you can give. Acha, to such a sadhak if you give Siddha Pranali, is there any harm?
No problem.
So both of us are on the same page. So regardless of whether the guru gives 11 details or 5 details or 2 details, the point is, if the sadhaka is properly situated, there is no harm. But if the sadhaka is improperly situated, there is big harm. I hope you're able to understand. This is the whole problem. The problem happened not because of the number of details. What is Siddha Pranali? We gave it a name. Name to what? To the 11 details. To the giving of 11 details, we gave it a name. And that name is Siddha Pranali. This name is not in the writings of the 6 Goswamis. Obviously, it came later. We understand. But we respect it. We respect any good framework. No problem. But point is, framework is for whom? Framework is for somebody who can fit in the framework. Not somebody who will exploit the framework and, misuse it. No. That is not what the framework is for. And let's say the guru does not give 11 details. Still the guru gives some details. So that this is how you should practice, this is how you should do. Then go ahead and perfect yourself. How? Just like the sages at Dandakaranya. How? Just as the Sakhya ras, just as the Dasya ras, just as Vatsalya ras, sadhakas are perfecting themselves. Why do you need to have 11 details on your sadhana stage? You can get them in your Siddha stage. Didn't Krishna says, Tesham nityabhi yuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham? That for those who are constantly dedicated to me, I carry their yoga and kshema. What is the meaning of yoga and kshema? Madhav Tripathi Prabhu. What is yoga and kshema?
Prabhuji, what the things which they have and things which they lack.
Wonderful. Apraptasya praptihi yoga. What you don't have, giving that to you is called yoga. Praptasya rakshanam kshemam. And whatever you have, protecting that is called kshema. So what you don't have, Bhagavan will give. What you have, Bhagavan will preserve. But nityabhiyuktanam, your attitude should be proper. Are you constantly thinking of Bhagavan Sri Krishna? Bhagavan will give, just like he gave to the sages at Dandakaranya. What greater praman is needed than the sages of Dandakaranya? I hope this answers your query. All right.
Yes, Prabhuji. Let's say we have to, let's say a sadhaka has to meditate on that particular form. He has to particularly on that mood, he has to meditate. So if he is not given all the details, if he is just given some details, so how will he be able to properly meditate on it, properly actualize that within his mind?
Such questions will not arise in the mind of a sadhaka who has reached that particular point. Such questions will not arise. Once you have gone through Shravan Dasha and Varan Dasha, these questions will not arise at all. Take my word for it. Because these questions are only arising because we are trying to figure out the way before we have reached there. When you will go through Shravan Dasha, you will go through Varan Dasha, you will have the confidence to be able to understand how these things are to be figured out. Right? So the sages at Dandakaranya Prabhu, they didn't have 11 details. How did they figure it out? Tell me, Mother Prabhu, otherwise they'll get stuck and they will not be able to attain perfection. No, it's not like that. When you have reached that state where you can walk up to Bhagwan Ram and say that, Prabhu, we are not attracted to your current form, but we want to get attracted to a form where you will accept us as your, consorts or maid servants. When you will reach that particular point of time, these other details might be a minor, they will be side details. You don't worry about them so much. Bhagwan will take care of all this. So I hope that clarifies. All right?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for that.
My problems.
Next, I have a comment, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
I was thinking of this verse, Siddhanta Balina Chittikara Alas. And Srila Prabhupada translates it as one shouldn't refrain from talking about controversial topics. So sometimes devotees will just read the translation and think, oh, great, well, we should talk about all sorts of political issues, let's talk about female Diksha gurus and, all the things that people disagree about the most. That's not the original intention of the verse. It's really about like Siddhanta of our philosophy, right? I was thinking about that as you're giving the class, that a lot of times as Westerners, we read Srila Prabhupada's words and we take them very literally, and we take the particular English connotations of the words he picks rather than thinking of, well, what are actually the original Bengali or Sanskrit words that he's trying to convey through English.
Right.
And in that way we get misled.
Right.
So I noticed in that quote you shared that Srila Prabhupada said they're by their external behavior, the prakrita sahajas.
Right.
When I read that, I thought, oh, I think he's talking about people who dress up like gopis.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes.
And so I think that's something I'm really taking to heart from this class, is that whenever I read Srila Prabhupada's words, I have to be really careful to understand what he's trying to convey. And I also have to think of him as a member of a tradition.
Right.
and not just as an independent authority.
Yes, it is very important to tell devotees that Srila Prabhupada is representing an entire flow of Ganga, an entire flow of Parampara. Because if we say that Srila Prabhupada is just a small pool who has just suddenly come up in one place, then we are misrepresenting Srila Prabhupada. His teachings are like the flow of the Ganga, which has begun from the Himalayas and which will go all the way down to the Bay of Bengal. And somewhere we are getting to drink from that Ganga. But, if we, represent him as an individual who has no connection to the previous acharyas or no obligation to the previous acharyas, then we are doing grave injustice to his teachings. Therefore, Srila Narottam Das Thakur has said something very nice in his Prema Bhakti Chandrika, and I would like to point out because he speaks exactly the point that you were speaking, in this particular comment that you made. So Sri Narottam Das Thakur says something, and I would like to highlight this and show this on the screen. This is what Sri Narottam Das Thakur says. He says, Mahajaner yai pathah. Whatever is the path shown by the Mahajanas, tateha anurata, become attached to that. But purva apara karya vichar. Purva apara, purvacharyas and apara, latter acharyas, meditate on both of them. Meditate on the instructions given by both of them. Some people are meditating only on the purva. They don't care about the recent acharyas. They will also make a mistake. Because they will say, okay, the Purva Acharyas were writing about Siddha Pranali for those qualified individuals, rare individuals who would come to Vrindavan. They will say, give Siddha Pranali to everybody. Some people will believe only in upper Acharyas, means recent Acharyas. They don't care about Purva Acharyas. They will also make a mistake. Purva Apara Karya Vichar. Think about both. Purva Acharyas and Apara Acharyas. Think about both of them. When Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is commenting upon this verse, see what he says. He has written a Sanskrit commentary on the Bengali verse. He says, Dandakaranya Vasi Mune, who are the previous acharyas, the sages at Dandakaranya. Brihad Vamana Shrutyascha Chandrakanti. Chandrakanti is the name of a gopi. Jayadev, Vidyapati, Chandidas, Bilva Mangal, etc. These are the Purva acharyas for Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And who are the recent acharyas for him? He says Purva Maha. These are the Purva acharyas. And Shad Goswamina Parama. And 6 Goswamis are recent acharyas. This is for his time, he's saying. So, by the time the Ganga flow has come to us, there are many other acharyas who have come. Because without them, we could not have received this flow of the Ganga. So for us, the 6 Goswamis, Chandidas, Jayadev Goswami, Bilva Mangal Thakur, Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Purva acharyas. Recent acharyas, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, or whosoever are the recent acharyas in one's parampara. So this is what we have to do. Otherwise, we'll make a mistake. That you are very correct about, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Next we have Mohit Deshmukh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for such a wonderful class and always giving us a crystal clear idea of our parampara's teaching. So my somewhat doubt was resolved by the answer of Madhav Tripathi Prabhu. My question is, as we are now in the Gaudiya Rupanuga Saraswat Parivar, in our Parivar,
what is the meaning of that technical term?
Okay, yes, in the lineage of Srila Saraswati Prabhupada.
Okay.
Sorry. In the lineage of Srila Saraswati Prabhupada we are. So we don't give Siddha Pranal. So as you mentioned one thing that we do Seva in the Siddha roop in the Ashtakalya Leela. So my question is, only after attaining the Siddha roop, the sadhak does the Seva in Ashtakayam, means eightfold pastimes or eightfold times of the eightfold pastimes of the Radha Krishna Leela, or is it while conceiving the Siddha Rupa he do that Seva?
So this is a detail you have to ask the Guru. Because if I give this out in a public class, then I am giving out the bhajan pranali which I had received from my Guru Janas. This is something which you have to receive from a Guru. Because this is not a topic of public discussion. Because, on one side, I say that we have to keep these things for very specific people. And on the other side, if I start speaking out the details in a class, I will contradict my own self.
Yes.
Did Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan, did they give it in their books? Some of them did not give all the details in their books. What is the reason?
To keep it like as a
To keep it as
campfire.
a Shruti Parampara between the Guru and disciple.
Yes.
Even today, it exists. But we have to get it from our from our Bhajan Guru. Whether, the eightfold past tense you have to meditate on while we are in this stage or only after perfection. All this will be revealed by a particular Shiksha Guru who knows the purpose why the eightfold pastimes were written. What is the purpose of writing down the eightfold pastimes? Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami wrote it in his literature. Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur wrote about the eightfold pastimes in his literature. For whom were they written?
For
If they are
the
written,
qualified
what is
sadhakas.
who the qualified? Means somebody who has already attained a Siddha identity or somebody who has not yet attained. So this is a question which has to be answered in person. So I'll not answer this in a public talk because it will go against my own stance of saying that these things have to be. See, as much as I could speak in a public talk, I spoke. As much as was written in the books, I spoke. Beyond that, the acharyas will also tell me, stop. This is Upadeshamritam. It's not Govinda Lilamritam. So I will pause myself here.
That's why it is important to associate with Sri Guru or our Guru Janas in person.
In person. These details are given in person and only when the Guru will see that we are qualified. We should not automatically assume that we are qualified for it. And if we are not yet qualified, we should aspire to qualify ourselves. Right? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Next we have Radhika Vallabha Prabhu.
Wonderful. Very good.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Hari Parshad, for beautifully reconciling the contradictions. The question which I have is that in the Raganuga Bhakti, you mentioned that we follow the eternal associates of Vrindavan in the mind, and that is very clear. And then we follow in the footsteps of the same associates in their Sadhaka deha.
Right.
In our external body, like Rupa Goswami, we follow in the external body, Rupa Manjari in the mind.
Right.
So now in the current scenario, like for example, for most of the devotees here or most of the devotees in the current times, like we are all living in the cities. We are surrounded by so many forces of adharma actually in every aspect of our life actually.
Right.
So we in regards to following the Goswamis externally as a sadhana bhakti, that is very clear how the Rupa Goswami, the Shad Goswamis performed their sadhana bhakti. We try to follow the sadhana bhakti aspects, and the Raganuga Bhakti, suppose that is only in the mind and somebody is qualified. But apart from that, in our lifestyle aspect, it's not about sadhana bhakti, the lifestyle aspects related to dharma. Because invariably, when we choose different options of adharma, it affects in a practical level in our day-to-day life also. So in the lifestyle aspects of dharma, is it not that the life of the Pandavas, following them or taking principles from them, will it not be and taking the principles, how they led their life, how they practice dharma, will it not be helpful for us actually?
Wonderful. Yeah. So this is the question, Prabhu?
This is the question. And
Yeah.
one more detail that may be in relation to this only. Like in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami says that suppose for Kamanuga Bhakti, even a person in the male body is qualified. It's not about a female body. He gives the example of, and similarly, say for example, suppose a devotee, his aspiration is to at the end to maybe to aspire for Raganuga Bhakti. But at present, he also has, say, aspirations to contribute something in the platform of Dharma. Say, suppose somebody has a Kshatriya propensity and he wants to contribute in the practical world. Will that be a disqualification for him to aspire for Raganuga Bhakti? These are
Wonderful.
the.
So, I will summarize your question, Prabhu. That let's say somebody is aspiring for Raganuga Bhakti, but they are staying in the city, and city has a lot of adharma. Isn't their duty also to follow in the footsteps of Pandavas and follow some dharma in their personal life and propagate? Wonderful. Yes, but see, the gopis also performed dharma. They were also dharmic. The Vrajvasis also performed dharma. Nanda Maharaj also used to execute Shivaratri. Nanda Maharaj also used to execute fasting, etc. They are all performing dharma. But Pandavas performed dharma on a society level, like they were the kings. Now, if we wish to propagate dharma on a societal level, we are getting into Varnashram. I'm very clear. We are getting into Varnashram. Once you are getting into Varnashram, you are getting into Vaidhi, aspects which are favorable for Vaidhi. So, Jiva Goswami had said in Bhakti Sandarbha that you can also have elements of Vaidhi mixed with Raganuga Bhakti. But let Raganuga be the primary and some elements of Vaidhi Bhakti be there in the Bhakti Sandarbha. Somebody had I think Omkar Prabhu had sent a question about this, that elements of Vaidhi Bhakti can be added to Raganuga Bhakti if if your mood is not Shuddha Raganuga. That is what it is. So you can have elements of Vaidhi Bhakti to that degree. It's not that you are either here or you are either there. It's not like that. Either Raganuga or either Vaidhi. It's not like that. Some elements of Vaidhi Bhakti can be added. Ultimately, for your ultimate attainment, if you wish to attain Shuddha Raganuga Bhajan, then in the Manah Shiksha, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami will give a very clear instruction. Na dharmam na dharmam shruti gana niruktam kila kuru. Radhika Prabhu, you know what is the meaning of this statement? Na dharmam na adharmam shruti gana niruktam kila kuru. So Vedas say something is dharma, something is adharma. If you are going to follow in Vraja, Radha Krishna Prachura Paricha, if you are going to serve Radha Krishna in Vraja, you have to give up both this dharma and so-called adharma, before you take to this Shuddha Raganuga Bhakti. So, for the time being, one may have elements of Vaidhi Bhakti mixed into their practice of Raganuga Bhakti. But if ultimately one wants to be an eternal resident of Sri Vrindavan, Goloka Vrindavan, then na dharmam, na adharmam, Shruti Gana Niruktam Kilakur. One has to reach to that stage. Somebody may say, oh, this is a very exclusivist type of, bhakti. Of course it is. Because we want to have a very specific type of attainment. Therefore, we are having a very specific type of practice. So I hope this clarifies. Right?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next we have, is it Onkar or Omkar?
It should technically be Omkar because Nakar doesn't go with the Ka. It should be Omkar. That is what is grammatically correct.
Okay, so next we have Omkar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu Dandavat Pranam.
Perhaps.
Prabhu, thank you for the talk today. It was very enlightening, and interestingly, you brought out the difference between the Siddha Rupa Seva and the Siddha Pranali. So that was very important. I would just add a point about that there's one granth like Priya Bhakti Rasarana for Sakhyaras, which speaks about this point. But it only speaks in the sense that you have to conceive of your body, just like Jaya Dharma, Srila Bhakti Thakur says. my question in this regard was regarding the Sri Gaura Leela. As we know that down the generation after Goswamis, the aspect of including Gaura Leela into the bhajan so that it will help push the Vraja Leela or nourish the Vraja Leela. So
Hmm.
simultaneously, a devotee has a Svarupa in a Gaura Leela and at the same time in the Vraja Leela. So regarding the Svarupa of the Gaura Leela also, Acharyas have pointed out, latter Acharyas, that Sadhaka Deha is also a kind of basically a perfected body, but it is named as a Sadhaka Deha. So that is why there is a confusion sometimes. Like there's a Siddha Deha which is in Vraja, Sadhaka Deha, which is in the Gaura Leela, which is actually a perfected form. And one Sadhaka Deha is basically the material body which we have now, or maybe in another lifetime, etc. So about this identity in the Gaura Leela, I wanted to ask, like,
See, this is
do the
clarified by,
Goswamis?
I will first and foremost, the question is complex and I will clarify it for those who have not understood. Some individuals say that you should have a relationship with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and you have an identity with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and this is how you should execute your bhajan, not only with Sri Krishna but also with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's what we say. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Jaiva Dharma says, our relationship with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so that it can be, for the facilitation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mood towards Sri Krishna, not for having an independent mood towards Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Our relationship with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is of that nature. And he quotes a verse in the Jaiva Dharma. See here, Jaiva Dharma chapter 39. He is quoting the verse. Na dharmam nada. This is the verse which I have quoting to, Radhika Vallabh Prabhu. Don't, no dharma, no adharma, give up both these things given in the Vedas. This is okay. This is the line. Shachi Sunu, the son of Shachi Mata, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Understand him to be whom? Nandishwara Pati Sutatve. Understand him to be the son of Nanda Maharaj. And okay, that he is Krishna, but right now, who is he for us? Guru Varam. Right now, he should be your Guru. That's all.
Yes, bro.
So,
I'm not getting into discussion that having a different mode for
that's okay.
Mahaprabhu. I was just
Right. What we are supposed to do is, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is our Guru of the Sampradaya. Okay. And what relation does a disciple have with Guru? In which ras does the disciple serve the Guru?
Dasya,
That is our relationship
Vishramba
with
Dasya.
Chaitanya. This is our relationship with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as given in the Mana Shiksha itself. And this is quoted by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur for making this very point in the Jaiva Dharma. So if you read that chapter of Jaiva Dharma, and I would suggest that you read through the original to get the exact intention in which he is quoting it. His emphasis is on seeing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Guru Varam. See Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as your Guru. Otherwise, this will, if you institutionalize this, this will again degrade. People will say, can I have Sakhya with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Can I have Vatsalya with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Can I have Madhurya with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Are Baba, then, that is called Gaura Nagari Bhav and it is not appreciated by, many Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Although some Gaudiya Vaishnavas practice that. We don't practice that. We want a relationship with Sri Krishna while being a servant of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is very clear. So I hope this is...
Yes, bro. But at the same time, our identity will gradually develop in the Gaur Leela also, as a servant of Mahaprabhu. Because we understand that there is a
That
Nitya Leela of
identity you
Gauranga.
already have. That identity you already have when you are initiated. The identity of being a das, that is your sadhaka deha, that is your identity in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela. Did Sri Rupa Goswami have a separate identity in relation to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
No.
If Rupa Goswami doesn't have a separate identity, why will you have a separate identity? Rupa Goswami's identity in Gaura Leela is Rupa Goswami. Omkar Prabhu's identity in Gaura Leela is Omkar Prabhu. If he perfects himself in this life. Otherwise, if you have to take a next life, then whatever life you perfect yourself in, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela, that is your identity with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. As simple as that. All right.
Yes, sir. So we can maybe summarize that the Leela which is going on now is also Mahaprabhu's Leela.
Mahaprabhu's Leela is currently going on. It is right there mentioned. You might have seen that verse which says even today Mahaprabhu's Leela is going on. Have you seen that verse?
I've heard that. I don't remember exactly.
No. So you have to memorize the pramanas.
Adyapi, I think.
Adyapiha Sei Leela Kare Gaura Rai Kono Kono Bhagyavan Dekhi Bar Paye. Chaitanya Bhagavat. It says this. I am sharing the. There are many verses to this effect. This is one. Adyapiha Sei Leela Kare Gaura Rai Kono Kono Bhagyavan Dekhi Bar Paye. Adyapiha, even today Mahaprabhu is performing his pastimes. Those who are very fortunate are able to witness the pastimes even today. So Bhakti Vinod Dekhe Korara Sampat. Chaitanya Bhakti Vinod Dekhe is currently seeing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's opulence. What is his opulence? His opulence are his devotees who are present even today. So Mahaprabhu's Leela is currently going on. Right? It has not yet stopped. But those individuals who will perfect their lives in this particular life, in this particular body, they are his associates. Right? Thank you.
Yes, sure. Thank you, sir.
Next we have Mihika. I hope I said that right.
Yeah, correct, bro. Your pronunciations are good, bro.
Is that a Prabhuji or a Mataji?
No, I said to Dhameshwar Mahaprabhu. Your pronunciations are good, Dhameshwar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you
Yeah.
very much for
Yeah.
the explanation on this controversial talk. So, Prabhu, my question is how you explained that the 11 aspects of this type of sadhana, and like the guru gives them, but like it's not fixed to 11. So like, is it like we just get them as we progress in our devotional life, and then it just comes to us?
That is what Srila Prabhupada says, it will automatically come to you when you progress.
Thank you very much.
Next we have Shant Madhusudan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Puri. Thank you so much for this wonderful lecture. My question is that, Prabhuji, that if Siddha Pranali is not at all required to attain perfection in Madhurya Ras, if we can attain perfection without it also, then why this Pranali was given, why it was established, what was the purpose behind this?
Good practices are established by devotees with good intentions at all points of time. For example, and every good practice can be misused later when it is turned into an institution. So, today we have many Vaishnava institutions, and the founders of those Vaishnava institutions wanted to institutionalize many things, and they institutionalized it. But later some of the followers misuse it, those same institutional constructs. So Siddha Pranali, the original intention behind it is a holistic intention. The holistic intention is that sadhaka should be facilitated in their manasi seva. That is why it was originally given. The first mention, I think, where it Siddha Pranali finds is in Sri Dhyan Chandra Goswami's Gaur Govind Archana Smaran Pathati. That is where it finds a mention. And but the intention was to give, to give benefit to the sadhaka. It's not, they knew that even without this, it can happen. But the intention is to give benefit to the sadhaka. But
at the same time,
later when it is institutionalized, it got misused. So what should we do? Should we completely discard it, or should we remove the negativities but still accept the pure form of Siddha Pranali? So after removing the negativities from it, the original pure Siddha Pranali for qualified people is to be respected. Definitely. That is what it is.
Thank you so much for it.
Next we have Samarpana Gopa Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandot Pranam Prabhuji. Thank you very much for such clear reconciliation with some examples and quotations. My question is, about this, Prabhuji, that there are some books by current devotees on this, like awakening is. Actually, I should not speak about persons, but I'm just speaking. That's why I'm not
So please
speaking the name.
don't speak anybody's name. Yeah, but
Yeah, I don't
books
speak any
regarding.
name. Maybe I can. I was mentioning about the title of the book. So because I wanted to understand, so I studied that book on awakening of spontaneous devotional service. So I just wanted to understand that whether because I just read to understand, because I didn't have any kind of source for me to understand, because I'm supposed to teach. So
Oh, okay.
yeah. So my question is about that, whether is it appropriate, or I don't know, it's asking is appropriate or not. But if you have any comments about that book or similar books in that direction.
Any book that is written, if it is written, because see, all the details were given by the previous acharyas. A book which is written today will most likely not add anything to it, but quote the previous acharyas and give a siddhanta about it. So any book that is written, if it is written according to the siddhantas of the previous acharyas, if the translations are correct, if the author is an expert in understanding the language of the previous acharyas, author should not depend on somebody's translations. Because if you are claiming to write something on the basis of the previous acharya, you should understand the language which they were speaking. Because every single word also conveys a lot of things. I will give you an example of this. For example, when Sri Rupa Goswami is speaking about these Pandavas, and he's speaking about Vrishnis, Sri Jiva Goswami, he makes a very important point in the commentary. I will share the commentary, and please everybody have a look. See what Sri Jiva Goswami is saying. So Sri Jiva Goswami says, Sambandhanad Vrishnaya. The examples of devotees who are related to Krishna are Vrishnis. But Vrishni now Upalakshanataya. By Vrishnis, Upalakshan, through Upalakshan Vallava, actually the cowherd relatives are indicated. How are they indicated? He says, Ajahal Lakshana, Ajahal Lakshana Yamata. He quotes a principle called Ajahal Lakshana Vritti. Now, somebody doesn't understand what is Ajahal Lakshana Vritti. Jahal Lakshana, Ajahal Lakshana, Jahad Ajahal Lakshana. If somebody does not understand these things, and somebody says, okay, I will write something, I'll write a book. Most likely they have not understood the entire intention of the acharyas before writing a book. But still, if they have properly represented Sri Rupa Goswami, and if they have quoted the original sources, then it is bona fide and valid. So for these topics, one needs to quote the original sources and give a proper understanding. Otherwise, there is every chance of misunderstanding it. Now, since the topic is raised, I will tell you what is Jahal Lakshana, Ajahal Lakshana. Because it is very important to understand what it is. Sometimes some words indicate some other meaning. But they give up their meaning altogether and indicate another meaning. For example, Manchaha Kroshanti. The beds were crying. What is the meaning of the statement, the beds were crying? Which means the children on the beds were crying. So the statement gives up its original meaning completely. So beds were not crying. The children on the beds were crying. So somebody said the beds were crying. This is called Jahal Lakshana. Lakshana Vritti, or indicatory meaning in which the original meaning is completely given up. Then there is something called as Ajahal Lakshana, in which the original meaning is not completely given up. For example, somebody may say the umbrellas were walking. What is the meaning of the umbrellas were walking? The meaning of the umbrellas were walking means the people who were holding the umbrellas were walking. But the umbrellas were also moving. So part of the meaning is still maintained, but part of the meaning is given up. So because the original meaning is still maintained, it is called Ajahal Lakshana. Jiva Goswami is speaking about this. He says, when he says Sambandhis, relatives includes Vrishnis, but it also mainly includes the relatives in Vrindavan. So he is not giving up the relatives of Dwarka. Without giving up the relatives of Dwarka, he is saying relatives means Sambandhanuga Bhakti relatives means the Gopas who are relatives in Vrindavan. this is Ajahal Lakshana. Without giving up the original intended meaning, he is giving the indicated meaning. So without understanding these things, the details, writing a book on this topic can be a little dangerous. But I don't know, since you have not named the author, so therefore I am assuming with good faith that they might have represented the previous acharyas nicely, if they have quoted their sources, if they are translated properly, and if they understand the language of the acharyas, then it is good. If they don't understand it, they should first understand it before writing about this topic. So I hope that is clear.
Yes, thank you.
Next, we have Parama Karuna Prabhu.
Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam.
My pranams.
So much for clarifying so many doubts in this one single class. It was so useful personally for me, for sure. My question is about a previous part of your talk, where you were talking about Arjuna and the Vrishnis, and you mentioned that the primary reason was that the Aishwarya mood is very much more prominent in them, and that is why following in their footsteps is not recommended or is not part.
It's not recommended. It's not Shuddha Raganuga Bhakti. How can we not recommend following the Pandavas? We don't recommend. But if you are a Raganuga devotee, Shuddha Raganuga, then following them cannot be useful for you, because their knowledge is covered by awe and reverence on many occasions. All right. So please, what is the question?
Yeah, my words may not be the best possible. I'm still kind of navigating myself through all these terms, choosing the right words. So to follow Raganuga Bhakti, I'm just trying to make sure my understanding is correct. I'll repeat or try to paraphrase some of the statements you made. Like, the sadhaka is, through his sadhana, trying to conceive or develop in his mind the siddha identity.
Wonderful.
So, which is free of this, or as much as possible free of this Aishwarya understanding.
Wonderful.
But so here's my question. Through the reading of Srimad Bhagavatam and through being in Krishna consciousness for almost now 20 years, or it said 15 plus years, we have been, at least not, I'll talk about myself, have been like so much into the understanding Krishna's to Bhagavan Swayam.
Yeah.
And ete cha amsha kala pumsha, all the other 21 avatars that are mentioned are amshas and kalas of that Krishna, who is the Swayam Bhagavan. And all the way to the 9th canto, even the first 3 chapters of the 10th canto, where the Lord appears as Lord Narayana with 4-handed form. How is it that has, I feel, sorry for the long question and dramatizing this, but I feel for me in this lifetime, it will be near to impossible to unlearn or forget or somehow minimize that aspect of Krishna's to Bhagavan Swayam, and somehow to make progress in conceiving and developing towards this aspect of. So I feel a little discouraged that if I were to ever, I'm very, very far away from that stage, but to develop towards this Raganuga, that even the qualification. So what to do about that, or is that the right understanding, or
Prabhuji, you don't need to be concerned about it. The same Sri Jiva Goswami who is writing Gopal Champu is already also writing 6 sandarbhas where he is saying Krishna's to Bhagavan Swayam. The confusion should be with him actually. You know why? On one hand, I'm writing Krishna Sandarbha, where the main verse I'm focusing is Krishna's to Bhagavan Swayam. And on the other hand, I am also the author of, Jiva Goswami is also the author of Gopal Champu. So, doesn't the contradiction arise in his mind? Because The way he has read Srimad Bhagavatam more number of times than we all of us can possibly imagine. And he has not made a mistake in understanding Srimad Bhagavatam. Obviously, he knows all the tattva and everything. Therefore, Narottam Das Thakur gave us a hint. Pakwa, pakwa. Right now, it is apakwa. Right now, your identity that you are conceiving of, right now means in the Raganuga Bhakti stage, in this life, will be apakwa. It will be apakwa, definitely. If you are thinking that I will attain the same experience that I will attain finally when I take birth with Krishna, sorry, that is not going to happen in this life. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says in the Jaiva Dharma Chaitanya Shikshamrita, previous acharyas have also said that in this body, prema can only reach up to a stage of Purva Rag. Purva Rag means, when you are seeing Krishna for the first time and you develop the initial love. Beyond that, the stages have to develop in your next life. That is when you actually take birth with Krishna, you have a blood relationship with Sri Krishna. So till that time, it is apakwa because, as a sadhaka, somewhere in your mind, there is Krishna's tu Bhagwan Swayam already. But the majority of your practice, sadhana bhakti, at one point of time, should be in the mood of the Vrajavasis. To such a point that by the time you leave your body, the main thing should be that Krishna is either my child, is like my child, or Krishna is like my friend, or something like that. So gradually it has to boil. The mood has to come to a boiling point. But you don't expect to achieve the same experience that you will achieve in your perfected next life. We call this stage the perfected stage. We call prema the perfected stage. But in actuality, the sadhakas only go up to the first stage of prema. But they do not attain all the flavors of prema in the sadhaka deha. So Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur at the end of, I am giving the reference, at the end of Ragavartma Chandrika, and you can look it up. He says that in order to attain the final full flavor of it, you'll have to take birth with Krishna. You will not be able to attain the final full flavor of it in this particular life. So that is what it is. Please don't worry. All the acharyas are in the same boat. They are also knowing all the tattvas and siddhantas. We are in the same boat. As long as we are in the same boat, we are secure. So it's not that we are having some different dilemma from what the previous acharyas had. So, but prominent mode of worship should be by considering Krishna as a Sambandhanuga or in the Kamanuga fashion. That should be the primary mode of worship in one's mind. And secondarily, we know he is Krishna's tu Bhagwan. This is Tattva when we are explaining to others who is Krishna. That is it. I hope that clarifies.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I'll listen to your answer again and try to internalize it.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Next, we have Nila Chala Chandrika Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you,
Hare Krishna.
Rameshwar Mahaprabhu. Krishna. I just want to say no question, but just a big thank you. And I think you are really a blessing to all of us, and I'm sure everybody agrees that. Like how we say, Yadi Prabhupada na hote. So I would say, Yadi Hari Parshad Prabhu na hote. Like, we would have been just in doubt, we would have just been in doubt forever, many lifetimes. So thank you for these wonderful, wonderful classes. They just disperse so many illusions, so many doubts. They're just out of our way. Thank you, Prabhuji, from the bottom of my heart.
No, I'm good as a shoe shiner of the previous acharyas. If Hari Parshad Das na hoy, somebody else to hoy. Definitely. Sadhus are always there, Mataji. Sadhus are always going to be there. So I don't think that, although I really appreciate that you have expressed your appreciation. But really speaking, I'm indebted to the previous acharyas for giving all these details, which I could not have figured out on my own. But thank you so much, Mataji, for being a Sahriday Shrota, for like-minded audience. Thank you, Mataji.
Other acharyas are there, but we cannot understand their language. I mean, it's tough to understand. So you've made it so easy. Thank you for this.
Thank you much. Hare Krishna.
Let's see. I don't think we've had a question from Wahid Deshmukh Prabhu.
Maybe you had.
Have we?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. In that case, we go to Mahesh.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanut Pranams.
Pranams.
Am I audible?
Yeah, and visible too.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for so beautiful discussions you are doing on this topic of Raganuga Bhakti. Very grateful for that. Prabhuji, I wanted to discuss regarding the Svarupa in Gaur Lila, which one Prabhuji discussed about. So, as you said, Prabhuji, like this Swarup, like this present body we are having is a kind of extension of Mahaprabhu's Prachar movement. So, this is our Swarup. But, Prabhuji, like in Dhyan Chandra Goswami's Dhyana Paddhati, doesn't it talk about the remembrance of the Yoga Peeth, Mayapur Yoga Peeth, before, like when they do Manasi Seva, do of Gaur Lila, then they do of the Braj Lila. So,
Wonderful.
wanted to understand about it a little bit.
Wonderful. Not only that, in Sri Dhyan Chandra Goswami's Bhajan Paddhati, it also asks you to meditate upon Shri Guru, who's dressed in pristine white cloth in his youthful form. Don't meditate on Guru as some old person. Meditate on him in his pristine youthful form, like this.
And golden, and I think golden body, like golden complexion.
Yeah. So these are given in his Paddhati. We respect all of that. And we accept that it is valid because it was given by an Acharya such as Sri Dhyan Chandra Goswami. There is no speaking against that. But it is not compulsory because there are Acharyas from other branches who have not given that. It is not. What is compulsory is to develop the mood of the Vrajavasis. That is what is compulsorily given by Sri Rupa Goswami. If Sri Rupa Goswami wanted to indicate that you should first do Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Dhyan and only then go there, then he would have mentioned in Bhakti Rasamrita. There are people who are placing conditions even to the conditions that Rupa Goswami has given. Right? So, it's okay if they do it within their circle. I don't mind it. If they start extending it and they start applying it to other circles, then if everybody starts doing it, then there will be an endless fight with no resolution. Suppose today I say everybody from all the Gaudiya Vaishnavas should first say Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advait Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur. Otherwise their chanting will not be effective. Our gurus didn't give this. Other Gaudiya Vaishnavas say, why are you putting a condition on us? No, because Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj said that this is required for Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj is in your Guru Parampara. Why are you imposing him on our Guru Parampara? So people try to impose moods of their branches on other branches, which is not good. The common thread in all the branches is Sri Rupa Goswami. As long as we are following him, we are good to go. That's what it is.
Yes. Because Prabhuji, like in Jaiva Dharma, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur talks about some souls who are like Gauravadi. He talks of this term called like Gauravadi, who have a connection with Gaura. So, and like some devotees like Murari Gupta, who are from Ayodhya, like Hanuman, and they are in Gaur Lila, but they are not in Braj Lila.
Wonderful.
So, like, depending on the Swarup of the soul, like, he may be from Vaikuntha also joined Gaur Lila and like others.
Wonderful.
So, particularly, you are saying that when you are talking about Raganuga Bhakti, Vraj Bhav, Madhurya Bhav, then you are talking that you are focusing on that. But maybe someone like for our Swarup, like generally, I don't know exactly remember that maybe Bhaktivinoda Thakur said that the Jiva has two Swarups, one in Gaur Lila as a Kishore and like in Braj Lila as Madhurya Gopi form or something like that.
Yeah, but he didn't give a separate sadhana paddhati, focusing around Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What he did is he gave a different times of the day what Mahaprabhu is doing, but then the ultimate meditation has to be on the pastimes of Sri Vraja. That is what he gave. And the thing is, as I said, Sri Rupa Goswami is the common thread between all the various families of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So let the common, let the beauty of the common thread remain, and let everybody have their own, details. Details add beauty to every family. So our family has a detail, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. This detail is there in our family. Some other families have some other detail. So that's okay. And it should not be made into compulsory conditions, because that is what is, these different moods are okay. But see, the purpose of Upadeshamritam is we want to become Rupanuga. That is the purpose of Upadesham. And so Rupanuga means somebody who's following in the mode of Vraja. Somebody may be following in the mode of Ayodhya or Vaikuntha and etc. That's all right. But the aim of studying Upadeshamritam is to become a Rupanuga. And Sri Rupanuga is very clearly saying Tishthan Vraje. In this verse itself, he is saying Tishthan Vraje. The stay in Vraja. So the mood is very clear. Now, some people may not appreciate it. Why narrow-mindedness? They may say it like this or like that. But hey, it's Sri Rupa Goswami Sampradaya, and he has to give some specific instructions to his followers so that they can attain a specific mood. That's what he's doing.
So just to conclude, so the thing which you said, so it is possible, no, that one can have an eternal form in the Gaur Lila, which is different from like this present. Like,
Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has
Siddha.
Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has admitted that possibility. I will not deny it. But the details of what sort of identity that is, how to cultivate that identity, etc., are not discussed in great detail.
That has not been talked.
Neither in the books of Sri Rupa Goswami, nor in the books of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, etc., because that identity is self-attained by attaining, a perfected body in Vrajalila. So that is what is the general understanding. You don't need to separately endeavor for it.
Yes, because I had this question because some sadhus have this viewpoint is that.
Come back, Prabhuji?
Yes, okay, Prabhuji. Sure.
Thank you. I'm going to pass my role as moderator to Paramakaruna Prabhu.
Wonderful.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Dhameshwar Mahaprabhu Prabhu. So I think next we have Sachindra Krishna Prabhu.
Wonderful. Very good.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavats Pranam. First of all, I'd like to just say thank you so much for the enlightening class, and what Neelachala Mataji's sentiments were very poignant in that, you're very much a blessing to all of the Vaishnavas who are here and listening online. And I think it's Krishna's arrangement. I always say that those who have that lobha for certain sentiments, Krishna automatically sends to them someone who can help guide them. So you are our guide. So, and that's Krishna's reciprocation. So thank you. My question regards Siddha Pranali. I remember in your past lectures, you had said that we are developing our mood of which rasa we want to go towards in relationship to Krishna. And we're developing that in this life, previous lives, and so forth. And that lobha is boiling in that rasa as we progress in our, in our devotional service. So the Siddha Pranali is specifically mentioned in the Gaudiya Vaishnavas as a way to get entry or further entry into Madhurya Ras. But then for those who have that inclination towards the other rasas, may feel discouraged in the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition that, wait, if Siddha Pranali is for those for Madhurya Ras, where do we stand? How do we get entry? There's no answer that's given as those who are in the Madhurya Ras having Siddha Pranali. So they may feel discouraged. What answer do you have for that?
I fully agree that they will feel discouraged, especially with the exclusivity that is being propagated around Madhurya Ras. I agree with you. I am with you on the same page. That when I say that Chaitanya Charitamrita says Chari Bhava Bhakti Diya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is saying that I will make the world dance in 4 moods. But there are people who are not agreeing to the words of Mahaprabhu. I am sharing my screen because many times I have spoken this, but I have not shown the praman for this. In Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela 3.19, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Yuga Dharma Pravaitam Nama Sankirtan Chari Bhava Bhakti Diya Nacha Bhuvan. I will make the world dance in ecstasy, realizing the 4 mellows of loving devotional service. So Definitely Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya and Madhurya are all a part of Mahaprabhu's package, although we know that Sri Rupa Goswami is specifically stressing on Madhurya Ras. We know that the stress is there on Madhurya Ras. We don't deny that. But historically, there have been sadhakas from Sakhya Ras also. Therefore, I specifically showed an example of a sadhaka from Sakhya Ras today in the form of Sri Vanamali Das Shastri. Although he is not physically present today, nobody can deny that he was a very great sadhaka of the Sakhya Ras. And he was worshipping Bhagavan Krishna in the mood of Sakhya. And there were names of books uttered today by some of the devotees who asked questions. Preyo Bhakti Rasarnam. It's a book which is for cultivating practice of Sakhya Ras. So details out Sakhya Ras, Preyo Bhakti Rasarnam. So, but there are some people who discourage and say, no, only Madhurya Ras is the one which Mahaprabhu wanted. And they quote verses like Anarpita Charim Chirat, what was not given for long, Mahaprabhu has come to give Ujjwal Ras. Agreed. That is the main thing which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to give, but he has also come to give Chari Bhav. And many sampradayas have worshippers in Sakhya, Vatsalya, Dasya, etc. There is no framework like Siddha Pranali for them, because it is generally understood that the framework given by Sri Rupa Goswami is sufficient. Nothing else is needed. So, as I told you, and even for Madhuri Ras, therefore I gave the specific example of the sages of Dandakaranya. They did not have any framework in the form of Siddha Pranali. No sadhaka in the Srimad Bhagavatam has had any framework like Siddha Pranali. But still they attained perfection. So this is so that we all devotees who are, getting inclined to all rasas, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, Madhurya, can feel encouraged. Please don't feel discouraged. The framework given by Sri Rupa Goswami is sufficient. No, nothing more, is needed, because it is self-sufficient. Anybody who says that something more is needed besides what Rupa Goswami gave is not understanding Sri Rupa Goswami properly. So I hope that addresses your comment to some degree.
Yes, thank you, Prabhu. And okay, I'll wait. Thank you.
Okay.
Next, let's see, Divya Nitai Prabhu. You can please unmute.
My pronouns.
I just want to give something like about this Rupa of an individual sadhaka. Is it audible?
Can you come closer to the microphone, maybe?
Audible?
Yeah, it's better. I don't know, Hari Parshad Prabhuji, if you can hear, then that's great.
Yeah, barely audible. Should be okay.
I just want to reconfirm. If the Svarupa of every living entity is fixed, so when they come in journey of the Krishna consciousness, then whether this Svarupa, they automatically they'll come to the point of this Raganuga Bhakti Bodhvat already had the Svarupa in the middle of Raganuga. They aspirant of Vraja.
Okay, I understood the query. I understood the query. Your query is, if the Swarupa of the Jiva is already fixed, do they come to that Swarupa during the journey, or or what happens? This question is opening the box to another big question, whether the Swarupa of the Jiva is fixed or not fixed, which will take us back to another question, whether the Jiva had a Swarupa in the spiritual world before he fell down, before the Jiva fell down, or the Jiva did not have a Swarupa in the spiritual world, or whether the Jiva fell from the spiritual world or did not fall. This is what it will ultimately come to. So I will not get into that Jiva issue here, because these questions are all closely related to each other. But in general, I will tell you what is the understanding of the traditional Gaudiya Vaishnavas. The understanding of the traditional Gaudiya Vaishnavas is that the Swarupa of the Jiva is revealed to the Jiva by the mercy of the Guru and the mercy of the Swarup Shakti. This is what is the traditional understanding of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And some Acharyas also have said, recent Acharyas have said, that the Swarupa is eternally fixed. One just has to realize the Swarupa. So this actually has become a topic of discussion. What is correct? Whether the Swarupa is fixed eternally or whether the Swarupa is bestowed by the Guru. For this, you will have to do a little bit of reading from both sides neutrally, because this question is a big philosophical question. It is not, there are individuals who are writing big articles about this. So it is not a question which can be easily answered in a short class. But I will tell you this, the traditional view is that by the mercy of the Svarup Shakti, the Jiva gets an identity. So, the traditional view is this. Sri Jiva Goswami has said in his commentary to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that it is by the mercy of the Svarup Shakti of Bhagavan that the Jiva gets, a particular mood or identity in the spiritual world. So whether this mood was eternally fixed or whether it was bestowed upon the Jiva, it's a big topic of discussion. But in any case, whether it was bestowed or whether it is eternally present, we should follow the path. That is what I can tell you at this point of time. Because this question will lead to a big second question and third question, which will not be feasible for this discussion. I have had this discussion previously with many devotees, so I am telling you with the direction in which the discussion will go. But thank you, Prabhu, for asking this query. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. We have next Bhavya Bhagwan Prabhu. Please unmute.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dhanam for your wonderful class, Prabhu. Prabhuji, so I had read somewhere that Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur Prabhupada says that our Siddh Pranali is Trinada Pisunichana Tarore Basashna Amanina Manadena Kirtana Siddhari. So,
Yeah.
Prabhu, so can you, we know this verse, but in what context, like, what is he actually meaning by that? Can you just elaborate on that, Prabhu?
Our Siddha Pranali goes through Shravan Dasha, Varan Dasha. One has to perform Shravan Kirtan before coming to Smaran Dasha. So, Pranadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishnuna Kirtaniyah Sada Harihi. Hari should first constantly be glorified in Varan Dasha. Then one should come to Smaran Dasha, and then one will automatically get a revelation of one's Siddha identity, like the sages of Dandakaranya got, like the sadhakas in Sakhya Ras, Dasya Ras, Vatsalya Ras get. So our Siddha Pranali is to follow the sages of Dandakaranya and perform Kirtan of Bhagwan, perform Kirtan in such a way that our identity will be revealed, by our own purification and our strength of bhajan. So, and by Bhagwan's mercy. So this is what he is trying to say. Go through the dashas. Shravan Dasha, Varan Dasha, etc. Go through the dashas.
So, Prabhuji, can it be understood this way that Atha Shri Krishna Namadi Na Bhavid Grahimendya Sevan Mukhe Jivado Swayam Eva Suratyada. So it will be automatically revealed by the Guru and the holy name once we have perfected it.
Yeah, but this verse is also taken in a very lazy fashion that, just continue to do it without any mindfulness. Mindlessly continue to do it. It will happen. It will not happen if we do it mindlessly. It has to be done with a specific attitude. And because people think, Ata Shri Krishna Nama Sevan Mukhe Jiva, just continue after 50 years. It will, one day in your sleep, it will happen. Arey Baba, it is not like that. One has to do it with a particular attitude and a mindset. The mindset and attitude, that is Shravan Dasha, hearing Krishna's pastimes with taking personal interest in them. All of these things have to Varan Dasha, Smaran Dasha. So with that particular attitude, one has to execute. Because one may become eligible for Varan Dasha, and then one will not take to Varan Dasha or Smaran Dasha, thinking, oh well, Sevan Mukhe Jiva Adav, serve through the tongue. But it says Jiva Adav, tongue, etc. People forget the etc. People say just serve through the tongue. So that is where they are making a mistake. When Krishna gives you the opportunity to serve through the mind, then serve through the mind. That is also very much important. Otherwise, people just make a very simplistic representation of the verse. Sevan Mukhe Jivado, chant through your tongue. Arey, where did the Adi go? Rupa Goswami, not even half a syllable is useless. Say Jiva Adav, Jiva, etc., tongue, etc. People forget the etc. and just say they reduce the verse to only chanting. So that is not the intention of the verse. The intention of the verse is serve through all the senses, beginning with the Jiva. Jiva Adir Yesham. Yeah, Jiva Adir Yesham Teshu. basically. Jiva is at the front of all the senses. So first engage your Jiva, your tongue, and then all the other senses also have to be engaged when you get the required qualification. Because people mechanically and mindlessly apply the verse and then they don't get the result and then they mentally think that the process did not work for me. So it is very important to understand for them also. Thank you.
Thank you for both the clarifications, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I think we have all the devotees here have asked before, so we'll go in the order. Madhav Tripathi, Prabhu. Please unmute.
It's connection. Oh, yeah.
Madhav Tripathi, Prabhu, are you able to unmute? Looks like,
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji, I had a little question regarding
Huh?
Basically,
I'm not able to.
I mentioned the story of Chota Krishna.
I'm not able to hear the query.
You're breaking up, Madhav Tripathi, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, you're breaking up. Maybe you could type the query in the chat box and we'll take it up at the end.
Okay, Prabhuji. Okay.
Okay, we'll go to Mohit Deshmukh, Prabhu, in the meantime.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandatrina. Thank you for continuously giving answers to us, and sometimes even 3.5 hours you go till. Thank you so much. One of the question was resolved because of Mahesh Prabhu and Onkar Prabhu. So the next question is regarding the worship of demigods like Surya Puja. Is in one of the commentary you mentioned that as we have to perform ekantika bhakti, means one-pointed bhakti towards Krishna, that's why we should not do puja of demigods. But as in 64 limbs of bhakti, there is that we should not do another of the demigods. That's why we can offer pranam and sometimes offer glorification in the form of prayers or vandana in relation with Krishna, as Mahaprabhu did in Lingaraj temple. Of course, it was for Mahadev, which is the Guna, like Guna Avatar of Krishna. But then also, just for giving an example.
So what's the query?
That we should not perform the puja of them, but at least can we offer them pranams and can we glorify them sometimes by praising them in relation with Krishna, as Mahaprabhu did in the Shivashtakam.
Prabhuji, the 64 limbs of bhakti are mainly in the context of Vaidhi Bhakti. So you are offering pranams and respects to the Devi Devtas because 64 limbs of bhakti says you should offer pranams and respects to the Devi Devtas. When you come to the platform of Raganuga Bhakti, you will not disrespect anybody. But na dharmam na dharmam shruti gana niruktam kilakuru. I showed you the verse from Manashiksha, second verse. I showed today. Neither dharma nor adharma. Your mind will follow in the footsteps of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath. At that time, your mind will yourself say. Your mind will not ask, what should I do? All the questions that you're asking, what should I do? What should I not do? This will be dissolved when you reach that particular stage. See how confidently Raghunath Das Goswami is saying, na dharmam, na dharmam, neither dharma nor adharma. How does he have the strength to say that? Because he is on that level. When you will come to that stage where you are following him, you will also gain the strength to understand what should be done, what should not be done. Right now, Vaidhi Bhakti, do not disrespect any devatas. And also those devatas who are helpful in Sri Krishna Leela, offer pranams to them. All devatas you can offer pranams. All Vedic devatas you can offer pranams. And you can pray for Sri Krishna Bhakti. But do not pray for any material benefit from any devata. That's all.
Yes. And Prabhuji, in which meter the Manashiksha is in?
Shikarini.
Okay. Thank you.
Same as Jagannath Ashtakam.
Yes.
Okay. We will go to Samarpan Gopa Prabhu. Kindly unmute.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you very much for clarifying about this Trinadapi Sunichena. It was very wonderful that it is a Varana Dasha. My question is about Prabodhananda Saraswati's one verse which speaks like this. I don't remember the full thing, but Yatha Yatha Gaura Padara Vinde Vinde
Yatha yatha gaur padara vinde
Rashi.
vindeta bhaktin krita punya rashi tatha tathotsarpati hridya kasmat radha padambhoja sutam purashi. Yeah, I know that verse.
Yes, so my question is to understand this verse properly. What is the proper meaning of this verse? Because it can be translated in a different way, like, you just serve Sankirtan moment of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Right.
And Akasmat, one day, Akasmat.
Yeah, one day,
manifest.
one
How
fine
should I
day,
become?
you will wake up and become a full-fledged Raganuga devotee. Like that is what will happen.
Yeah.
Huh?
So
I'll first and foremost to the audience who have not heard this verse, I will specify this verse. There's a verse in the Chaitanya Chandramrita of Sri Prabodhananda Saraswati. It says, Yatha Yatha Gaura Padara Vinde, Vindeta Bhaktim Krita Punya Rashi. To the degree that a fortunate soul develops attachment and bhakti to the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to that degree he will find bhakti ras in relation to Srimati Radharani's lotus feet awakening within his heart. This is the translation of the verse. To the degree that one develops bhakti for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet, to that degree he will develop bhakti for Srimati Radharani. This is the sum and substance of that verse. This is approximate translation of that verse. This verse is often used to specify that you don't need to separately worship, this to Vraja Raganuga Bhakti. Just follow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and one day it will happen. Acha. And when we start worshipping Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what is the meaning of worshipping Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? They say just worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just do Sankirtan movement and it will automatically happen. Acha. Then ask the devotees, the devotees spend 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years and 50 years and then they are still waiting that it will happen one day. The reason being, it doesn't happen because they did not follow the instructions of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What is the meaning of having bhakti towards Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Samarpan Goprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu should be represented in our words or in his own words? How should we represent Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
In his own words, which he has taught to Sanatan and Rupa and other.
All right, Prabhu. So I will tell you. So what did he teach Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, that to perform my bhakti or perform Krishna bhakti?
Perform Krishna bhakti, that to Raganuga Bhakti.
So, if, and I will show you an instruction from Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, which is a praman basically, because people will say, give a specific praman. So I'm giving you a specific praman. Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhya Khand, 28 chapter, 27th verse. Yadi ama prati sneha thake savakar, tabe Krishna vyatirikta na gaibe ar. So Samarpan Goprabhu, please read the translation.
If you have any affection for me, then don't speak about any topics other than Krishna.
No, Mahaprabhu. We will speak about you. We will not speak about Krishna. What will Mahaprabhu say?
Yes.
Are yadi ama prati, I am telling you how to execute love for me. Who is this other person who is, standing on above Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and telling what we should do? Are Baba, who is giving such instructions? Such people are neither following Chaitanya Mahaprabhu properly and neither have understood the process properly. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu means, to have bhakti for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu means to have bhakti in his instructions. To follow his instructions is his bhakti, that is his seva. And his instructions very clearly say that if you have any bhakti, any sneha, any prema for me, please worship Sri Krishna. Who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? He is Bhagavan Sri Krishna, has taken on the mode of Srimati Radharani. If we have to worship Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we have to nourish his mood. How will Srimati Radharani's mood be nourished? By worshipping her independently or by worshipping Sri Krishna? Please tell me, Samarpan Goprabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji, by worshipping Sri Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will be happy. And
When Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Rai Ramananda, they used to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Gambhira. Which katha did they speak to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
Yes, for Krishna Katha.
So it's obvious. I will never, specify. No, I will not specify any independent worship of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that cuts away Krishna Bhakti. This is not according to Shastra, neither according to the previous acharyas, nor according to the example set by the previous acharyas. So I hope that answers your query.
Yes, bro. Just just one verse which says the same thing. Krishnat Kirtana Gana Nartana Kala Pathojini Bhrajita.
Yeah.
Sadbhakta Hamsa Chakramavita. So it is also speaking that they are speaking about Krishna, isn't it?
Yes, obviously.
Krishna Kirtana, the Mahaprabhu's associates are like, but they are talking about Krishna. So
It's obvious.
yes, thank you.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. We'll go to Mahesh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, just a short question. I would like to request you that, like you discussed recently in this class, that there are some topics of bhajan are confidential between the guru and the disciple, and they cannot be talked in open. Just if it is possible, or if you are comfortable, can you please share like who is your Shiksha Gurudev in this line of Raganuga Bhajan? I don't know if I can ask. Like if it is fine, I don't know.
The thing is, the Hari Bhakti Vilas asks us to keep some gurus confidential. Okay. So this is the Hari Bhakti Vilas says that Gopayed Guru Matmanaha. Hide your, gurus. Hide basically means, not that you don't speak their name ever, but you hide what is the contribution of what guru in your life as much as possible. But definitely what I can tell you is, with my Diksha Guru, I have definitely, spoken about this type of, all these, the details that are required for this path. And I have asked him for the qualifications. So this I have discussed with my Diksha Guru, definitely in person.
Yes.
So this, but which gurus I have taken inspiration from on my path of Raganuga Bhakti, it is not, I do not feel comfortable in speaking in public, because what will be the speciality of my bhajan if I give away the name of my gurus in public? My gurus are in my heart. Somebody taught me how to relish the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Somebody taught me how to relish Srila Rupa Goswami's works. They are all my gurus on the path of bhajan. But definitely this type of bhajan I discussed with my initiating guru before I started researching into it in great detail. And
yes, I was sure, Prabhuji. Obviously, you cannot do something without which is not shastric, or without that is not the point. I was just inquisitive to know.
Yeah, I was tested at that point of time, and it was my good fortune that I was able to satisfy the test. This is what I can say. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So we'll try Madhav Tripathi Prabhu. I know you have put it on chat, but let's see if your connection is good. You can ask verbally.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Prabhuji, this is a question from a conversation which Srila Prabhupada had with one of his disciples. So, this is from Mayapur, 1973. So, the disciple asked Srila Prabhupada, I mentioned the story of Chota Krishnadas, who tried to kill himself by jumping into Manas Ganga when he heard that only his guru, who had already departed, could give him Siddha Pranali. How to receive this eternal information? Sthai Bhav Gurudev. So, Srila Prabhupada replies, Guru will give. There is no material consideration about guru is here or there. When you reach that level, guru will give. So basically, this opens room for like whether if guru is not here and he has not given that Raganuga Shiksha to the disciple, and before that he departs. So will the disciple get that Shiksha from his guru in some supernatural way, or how does it sound like? I'm unable to
This
understand this.
conversation is not to be found in the Veda-based folio. I see here, I'm showing you. I'm just searching for, let's take a few terms from the conversation that you have given in the chat box. Okay. Guru will give. I was just searching for Guru will give. And Guru will give, this is not the one, 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 this is not the one. And then it is Vyas Puja. So Prabhupada's teachings have already been completed here. It's Vyas Puja offerings. So I don't think it is a recorded conversation, but I don't deny that such a conversation might have taken place. Based on the assumption that such a conversation took place, I am answering the question because it's important to put the fact on the table that this conversation is not a recorded one, at least in the folio that we have today. If a Rasik Guru departs without having given Raganuga Shiksha to his disciples, first and foremost, traditionally a Guru does not accept a disciple unless he can train him. That is traditionally, this is the case. 1 year testing is there, then the training is there. Traditionally, a Guru will not accept such a disciple. Some supernatural, will he give instruction through some supernatural? No. If the disciple needs some instructions, they can get another Shiksha Guru. That is, supernatural means are always there, but they are not the exclusive means of receiving some Shiksha. So, obviously, there are other, if a devotee is really looking for something, they will find, just like Shyamanand Prabhu found Shiksha Guru in the form of Sri Jiva Goswami and received instructions for Raganuga Bhakti from Sri Jiva Goswami. Although his Diksha Guru was currently present on the planet, but the moods were sometimes not matching. So he found his Bhajan Guru in the form of Sri Jiva Goswami. That is the answer to your query. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go back to Samarpan Gopa Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you. My question is about this verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes and understanding them. So I have put the translation in the chat box. The verse goes like this: Krishna Lila Amrita Sara Tara Shata Shata Dhara Dasha Dikhe Vahe Yaha Hai Te Se Chaitanya Lila Hai Sarovara Akshaya Mano Hamsa Charahata Hai. So this verse's translation is there in the chat box. So my question is about that. How much we like here, the analogy is given by Kaviraj Goswami is that first your mind should swim in the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya and to actually approach the Krishna's pastime. So, and in this purport of Prabhupada also writes that without without understanding the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one cannot understand Radha and Krishna, and so on. So he's mentioning that. So my question is, how much and how much, how we enter our mind into this sarovara, which Kaviraj Goswami is saying, so that we can actually take bath in the whatever that hundreds of rivers.
So it's very simple and it's very given in the direct words of Srila Prabhupada in the purport to the same verse. Following in the footsteps, the other Goswamis understood Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So at least we know that there are some devotees who managed to swim in this, reservoir. And they are the 6 Goswamis. Do you agree, Samarpan Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. One should understand Sri Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Sri Krishna. Prabhu, and, not or. What does and mean?
And means, yeah, both have to be there.
Wonderful. From whom? From the?
From only 6 Goswamis. Yeah.
In the Parampara system. So, whatever the 6 Goswamis teach you about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you learn. And whatever the 6 Goswamis teach you about Krishna, you learn. Right? That will clarify everything. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
All right. What do the 6 Goswamis teach most about? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Krishna?
They always taught about Krishna only.
Oh, wonderful.
They always speak about Krishna.
You only said Krishna.
Yeah. Only doubt which still lurking is that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes are also very deep and like Chaitanya Charitamrita and all, they don't explain the whole thing, but when we hear from the devotees, so they fluff the pastimes or whatever, because they're very deep in that sense. So that's why I was asking.
Chaitanya Leela is not complete without a detailed discussion on Krishna Leela. Why did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sing the verse in front of the cart from Kavya Prakash? Yaha Kaumar Harah Sa Eva Hi Varah. That person was my first lover, is now my husband. The same nights of Chaitra are there, but the situation is not the same. Can you explain this verse without getting into Krishna Leela?
Not at all. That was understood by Rupa Goswami only, no?
Yes. So you can't understand Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela without having a very detailed understanding of Sri Krishna Leela. And this detailed understanding one has to get from Rupa Goswami. And therefore, unless one understands Sri Krishna Leela also nicely, one's understanding of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela independently will not be complete. One has to follow the path given by the 6 Goswamis, and this path is mentioned in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, etc. I hope that clarifies.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will go to Bhavya Bhagwan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you, Paramkaran Prabhu, for giving me another chance. So, Prabhuji, my question is, if the Guru is really pleased with his disciple, and if the disciple has the similar kind of aspiration, so can the Guru transfer his Thai bhav to his disciple with whom he is very pleased? If the disciple has the same aspiration.
Prabhuji, this was already explained in the previous sessions. It was mentioned by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur that, lobha can arise by the mercy of a devotee. This was mentioned in the previous session.
Okay. So that's the same thing, right? So,
I mean, you want a scientific explanation? I can't give that.
sorry. Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
All right.
Okay. Mahesh Prabhu.
All right.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Actually, I didn't wanted to ask, is it too late? We can continue later because it's so much pressure on you. So just wanted to ask you, it's already too late.
You're the last one.
Yeah, it's a short question, that's it.
You can see, if you like, you can answer others later, no problem. Prabhuji, like the mood which you were discussing recently, I completely agree and appreciate like the Rupa Goswami's mood talking about Krishna, but the recent questions regarding Mahaprabhu. So I also had the same confusion because in Navadip Dham Atma, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur talks a lot about doing Gaur Bhajan in Navadip and serving Navadip, you get Vraj very easily, and you don't serve Navadip, Vraj is very far, things like that, and you get a Kunja and very easily by the mercy of Gaura. So how do you understand? Because Rupa Goswami's way is little different. Like it focuses majorly on Raganuga and Krishna bhajan, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur focuses or glorifies Gaur bhajan and is like easy, like with offenses also you get. So it looks like different line of thought. If you like to give some explanation.
It's a different line of thought, but if you take to that line of thought which is given in Navadip Dham Mahatma, you'll need a guru who can instruct you all the way till the end, who can show you what is Mahaprabhu's bhajan and not simply give the basic details that just do Mahaprabhu bhajan. No. That will not. How to do Mahaprabhu bhajan? That is what is needed. Because many people just do Mahaprabhu bhajan, and you will go, Acha, what is the bhajan pranali? Where is the book which gives the details of the bhajan pranali? And is such a book available in the teachings of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur? If it is available, well and good, and if we can find a guru who can teach us that, then well and good. But if it is not available, and if such a guru is not available, then what do we do?
Then the only way is
the royal highway of Sri Rupa Goswami is always open. So let that be the case. All right.
If we are saying that is another path, but one needs to have such a guru or someone who is already practicing that path.
And who can also practically show that how entering through Mahaprabhu's Leela will take you into Krishna Lila. And I agree it is possible, but you need a person who can show like that.
Very rare to find such a person.
Yeah. So it's not a denial of Mahaprabhu. We will definitely study Mahaprabhu's Lila. But our focus in the end will be what Sri Rupa Goswami has said. That Tannam Rupa Charitadi. Krishna's name, Krishna's form, Krishna's pastime, Krishna's activities. That is our final object of meditation. That is what I wish to say. Right.
Thank you very much.
Probably there's one question earlier by Radhika Vallabh Prabhu. I think I don't see him. Probably he dropped because of other things. Would it be okay if I?
Sure.
So he's asking, how do we understand Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's behavior in Antya Leela 19.9, which says, Tumara seva chhadi ami karilun sannyasa, baula hana ami kailun dharmanash. So in how do we understand this baula hana ami kailun dharmanash in relation to Manha Shiksha verse? Manha Shiksha verse tells us to go above dharma and adharma, but Mahaprabhu is feeling repentant for breaking dharma.
Well, the thing is, this particular verse is spoken to a particular personality. This personality is Jagadanand Pandit. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has a specific mood towards Sri Jagadanand Pandit, and in that mood, this verse has been spoken. So when we see the relationship that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had with Sri Jagadanand Pandit, it will become clear why he spoke this verse to Sri Jagadanand Pandit. Because we should know who Sri Jagadanand Pandit is in Krishna Lila. And then we will understand what is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's relationship with him. So this verse is spoken because he has a specific relationship with Sri Jagadanand Pandit. And Sri Jagadanand Pandit, as we know, he was a little strict towards Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu makes statements like this. And I'm just giving a short answer. He was a little strict towards Mahaprabhu. Therefore, Mahaprabhu used to make statements like this in front of him. He won't make statements like this in front of Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, etc. Because they understand Mahaprabhu's mind. That is the answer to that.
Wonderful. Prabhuji, do you have time for one more question? I see Samarpan Gopa Prabhu has raised the hand.
All right, one last query, because it's now it's yeah.
It is just thank you. It is just an extension to what Mahesh was asking about, the Chaitanya Lila and all. So there is one verse what I remember by Prabodhanand Saraswati, that unless you enter into Navakanan, you cannot enter into Vrindavan, which is 12 forest. I don't remember the verse, but you will not get Krishna. There is Prabodhanand Saraswati, I think, Chandramrit only. So
I understand. See, Sri Prabodhanand Saraswati says, unless you enter the 9 forests of Navadvip, right?
Yeah, there is
entered to
Krishna, like that it ends. Yeah.
So then see, sometimes poets or kavis, they use a figure of speech called as atishayokti, over exaggeration, in order to emphasize a point. So sometimes, and Sri Prabodhanand Saraswati is an expert in atishayokti. He's an expert in atishayokti. I'll give you an example of atishayokti in Sri Prabodhanand Saraswati's verses. For example, in Chaitanya Chandramrita, he composes a verse, Vanchitosmi, Vanchitosmi, Vanchitosmi na sanshaya, Vishwam Gaura Rase Magnam Sparshopi Mamana Bhavat. I will show you this verse. This is, I think, I don't know if you have read this verse previously, but I'll share my screen with you. This is words. Vanchitosmi, Vanchitosmi, Vanchitosmi. I am cheated, I am cheated, I am cheated. Na samshaya. Undoubtedly, I am cheated. Why? Vishwam Gaura Rase Magnam. The whole world is now, diving in Gaura Rasa. But Sparshopi Mamana Bhavat. I could not even touch Gaura Rasa. Now, Prabhu, tell me, is this Atishayokti or not Atishayokti?
Yeah, it is surely Atishayokti. It appears to be his humility also.
Yeah. But no, Vishwam Gaura Rase Magnam, the entire world has drunk. What do you feel?
Yeah.
If If you look for, it's an Atishayokti. So, in order to understand the poets, one has to understand Alankar Shastra. Without understanding Alankar Shastra, one cannot understand the mood of the poets. Because we will take this as Siddhantic statement. Now, if it is Siddhantic statement, then Sparshopi Manana Bhava. Then the Siddhanta is that Prabodhanand Saraswati could not even touch a little bit of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. Should we take that as a Siddhanta because he himself wrote it, Prabhu?
Yeah, yes.
Yes.
So Siddhartha and emotion. Yeah, no, not like that, but it is clear what you are saying.
When you enter into the domain of poetics, poetics is a different domain. At that time, we have to sometimes keep aside the hat of Siddhanta and take upon the hat of the poet. And the poet sometimes speaks Atishayoktis. And there's a lot of Atishayoktis in the writings of Sri Prabodhananda Saraswati. So that is how you have to understand. Atishayokti means a little over exaggeration is there in order to emphasize a point. That's what it is.
It is exaggeration showing his appreciation for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes to get it to Krishna.
But if we turn this into a Siddhanta Vakya, because he said, therefore it must be.
So it's not Siddhanta. That is clear, Prabhu. Thank you. And Muchkunda says something similar. So it's clear now. There is poetry and there is Atishayokti, but Siddhanta is different. It has to be clear.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Again, a 3-hour plus discussion. And it's so amazing. I don't think there are other classes where there's 1 hour of presentation and 2 hours of questions. That just shows how much devotees value your teachings and how much they just want to, at least that's my situation, like other devotees were saying. We are so blessed that we, can't let you go and without clarifying all our doubts. And there are so many of them. Thank you. Dhameshwar Mahaprabhu is back. So would you please give the closing?
Thank you so much, Paramakaruna Prabhu, for taking over. Really appreciate you helping out. And it's so nice to see you here. It's always nice to see you, Prabhuji. So let's all unmute. Give a big thank you to His Grace Hari Parshad Prabhu.
Thank you. Thank you, Hari Parshad Prabhu.
Thank you so
His
much.
Grace Hari Parshad Prabhu ki.
Jai. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Ananta Koti.
Thank you so much. Thank you all so much, and looking forward to see you again next week. Okay, I'm going to sign off now. Haribol.
Thank you.
You all a very happy Deepavali.